Seahawks football is brought to you by CenturyLink. Internet, phone, TV, and more. Visit CenturyLink.com for details. Pemco Insurance. We're a lot like you, a little different. Washington's Lottery and the Department of Imagination. Imagine the possibilities. And Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Blair Bush raising the 12th man flag tonight. Of course, the UW alum. Go ahead.
Yeah, local boy. He's a center at the University of Washington many years here, and I think you may recognize who he snapped the ball to way back when in 1979 with the Dogs. Yeah, that Hall of Famer right there in the booth next to us. Good look there at Warren Moon. Steve Rabel calling the action on the radio tonight. Blair, one of the beloved figures here in this community.
And should be. Well-deserved career both in college and with the Seahawks. And you can hear the 12th man getting loud already.
It's a little different than San Diego a week ago, Kurt. Just a little bit.
Steven Hauschka kicks it off. And through the end zone. And so the Broncos will take over at the 20-yard line. We'll get our first look at Mr. Everything. Peyton Manning, many argue the best quarterback ever to play the game. If he's not, he's certainly in the discussion. Coming back last year after that neck surgery, putting up Pro Bowl numbers and leading this team to a fantastic regular season before they got stunned in the playoffs.
The only four-time MVP in this league, 12-time Pro Bowler. No other quarterback in the history of the game has those kind of accolades, and a real good test tonight. He's excited to face this 12th man and the noise and all the challenges that CenturyLink brings.
Played 2 series last week against San Francisco. Asked to play more. Usually when Peyton asks, he gets what he wants. Starting from the 20, out of the shotgun, Manning. And incomplete, intended for Decker, thrown short, no flags on the play. Brandon Browner there with the coverage. Well, this offensive line is big, but they've got a lot of injuries, particularly at center right now, as they try and figure out who will snap the ball to Manning. And you can see they're going with this no-huddle offense that they like to do. Manning under pressure. Pass caught by Eric Decker, broken up. Brandon Browner stripped it. They say it's incomplete.
Immediately you see something different than a week ago, testing those corners on the outside. Denver's got 2 excellent big physical receivers. That's going to be ruled incomplete here. I don't think he ever has full possession. You see the wingspan and the strength of Browner ripping it away.
3rd and long. Here we go. With time, Manning, Wes Welker going to be stopped short of the first down. Cam Chancellor stops him after an 8-yard pickup, and so the Broncos will be forced to punt on this opening possession.
And you want those kind of matchups. You want those one-on-ones, and you prefer when they're 3rd and 10. There you see the difference of quality play on 1st and 2nd down. You force a 3rd and 10, and instead of moving the chains on a 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 where Denver was so good a season ago, well, 3rd and 10 gives Cam Chancellor a chance to keep everything in front of him and force this punt.
You saw Golden Tate back to take the punt from Britton Cole quit. High kick. Tate. Flags fly as Tate goes down right about the 33-yard line. We'll see what the penalty is.
That was Jermaine Kearse on the outside, scrapping with the gunner there for Denver, trying to get a block on him.
And the officials trying to sort this out.
Jermaine Kearse, a guy with a tremendous camp, is really taken to special teams. Did it a year ago to make this roster, and he's grown into more than just a special teams player. Has really excelled, caught the touchdown a week ago. But he epitomizes what Pete preaches. Get on that field, you compete, and then the level of physicality as well. A lot of conversation about this one.
A lot of indecision, it seems, right now, at least from our vantage point. The officials go over and discuss it with each sideline. Ron Torbert, the referee.
There were fouls on both teams on the play. Holding by the receiving team, number 55. Personal foul, face mask by the kicking team, number 12. Those penalties will offset. We'll replay fourth down.
And so Heath Farwell and Andre Caldwell for the Broncos. Heath Farwell for the Seahawks called on the penalties, and it basically winds up being a do-over.
Yeah, Farwell in the middle there with the hold, and then on the perimeter, Kearse got grabbed by the face mask, and Golden Tate will get a chance to do it again. Pete Carroll had to like what he saw a week ago from his special teams. They were sharp in every phase, the return game, the cover game. Even Stephen Hauschka nearly hit a 61-yard field goal. Golden Tate is typically very good in space. If they can just get him that crease, get him going downhill, he has a chance to spring one.
And there's an opening in that return job with the injury to Percy Harvin. Colquitt gets it off. This one going to be shorter. Tate signals for the fair catch, watches it bounce. And the Broncos will down it right across the 35-yard line, about the 36. And so Russell Wilson will now take over. First time he gets to play here at home. And you see the numbers from last year. Set the rookie record for touchdown passes in NFL history among quarterback, tying Peyton Manning.
Yeah, the difference about 19 interceptions. Russell had 26-10 touchdown interception ratio. Peyton, his rookie year, 26 touchdown, 29 interceptions. And I know that Russell looks up to 18 on the other side. He doesn't want a 3 and out like Denver had. He wants to establish it right away.
Off the play fake right away, Golden Tate makes a move, fights his way, gets close to that first down marker. Going to be about a yard short, but a nice 9-yard gain there on first down. You can see the guys up front. Max Unger did not play last week, so he is back in the lineup after missing time with a groin injury. And the backs and receivers, Marshawn Lynch still looking for his first carry of the preseason. Second and short. And there it is, Lynch. Fights. Going to be about a half-yard short. Well, this Bronco defense, people talk so much about how good they are offensively. They don't realize the Seahawks were 4th in defense last year. Denver was 2nd.
And that was in yards. They were 1st and 3rd down defense, 4th in scoring. They did such a good job in many phases defensively. They didn't take the ball away nearly as much as they want to this year. And there you see the 12-time Pro Bowler Champ Bailey, the corner on the outside. I don't think he's going to get involved on a 3rd and short play. I'm going to guess Tom Cable wants to smash this one downhill.
And he's got Robert Turbin deep in the eye. Turbin with the carry, cuts it back. We'll see where they spot this one. Of course, Turbin getting his first action of the preseason. Wasn't able to play last week as he's been battling injuries so far in training camp. He got the first down there, just enough yardage.
Yeah, there's something to watching a rookie get 16 carries, and he was fighting to get back on that field all preseason long. Turbin, like a Zach Miller, like a Cliff Averill, and you see Pete Carroll there. They've been very careful all the way along with these guys that have been nicked up. They want to get to week number 1 more so than preseason game number 2, but Turbin happy to be back on the field.
And the Seahawks happy he gained the first down. Here's Lynch off the play fake. Wilson going up top. Overthrows Luke Wilson, the tight end. 5th-round draft pick, and it falls incomplete, but there's a flag in the backfield.
Holding. Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
And that's on the Pro Bowler Russell Okung.
Love the call. You get the first down, and it's usually between the 40s. You'll see offensive coordinators want to take that kind of shot. And in particular here, you want to learn about Luke Wilson. Zach Miller off the PUP list on Friday. He will be back, may even be back in Green Bay next Friday. But Luke Wilson's a kid that can run, and they want to see him on those wheel routes, on those seam routes. He can really go just a bit overthrown. Wouldn't have mattered anyway with the hold on the Pro Bowler Okung.
So the Seahawks backed up to the 35. Rolling. Wilson zips that one in there, caught by Baldwin. Out across midfield, pickup of 16.
You talked earlier about the similarity between Peyton and Russell. This is where they're vastly different. Russell Wilson is teaching tape for any young quarterback when he gets on the move. An excellent job in the play pass, affecting the linebackers, and look at the shoulders. You want to know why that throw is on the money to Doug Baldwin? He doesn't have to get out of stride whatsoever. Watch the finish. Everything when Russell throws is on the move towards his target. And what a beeline there, and a big play on 1st and 20.
Turbin back in the game, big hole. Takes it into Bronco territory, picks up another Seattle first down. Robert Turbin back in the game, picks up 7 more.
I think he was hungry for that carry. I think it surprised Russell a little bit too. He was coming right at you, and there you see the movement. I don't think Okung liked the holding call, and he just washes down that strong side play.
Wilson escapes, flags down, as Wilson is dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. We'll see what the penalty marker is all about. Wesley Woodyard caught him. We'll see if this is a tackle for a loss or not. A lot of flags early in this game.
Holding. Offense, number 22, 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Well, this is a good test. We talked about the strength of Denver defensively. And this is a group that was number 1 in all of the NFL in getting after the passer and rushing the quarterback. And this is Turbin on the inside. That's a no-brainer. You get your arms extended like that, and that's going to be a penalty. But that face mask right in front of Pete Carroll on the sidelines was not an obvious hold. Pass protection inside. Turbin just coming back, missing a few weeks of training camp. Got to get a little bit sharper there, and the referee's got to see that face mask as well.
So they took the play instead of taking the penalty, and here in the middle of the field, pass is caught. Sean McGrath, the big tight end, rumbles all the way down to the 20-yard line. 25 yards on the play.
Anticipation. I chatted with the Hall of Famer Warren Moon before the season. What did he want to see from Russell Wilson? Exactly this. Don't wait. You got that receiver, hit him. Maybe last year that he holds out just a half second and he throws McGrath into that coverage. Instead, he puts it on his back shoulder, allows the tight end to get north and south and put these Seahawks into the red zone.
Turbin following his fullback, Michael Robinson, picks up 5 on the run.
Don't be surprised if we see a bunch of carries from Turbin here, especially in this first half. Marshawn Lynch got his token carry. I don't think you're going to see beast mode the rest of this ball game. But you're going to want to get Turbin into the action here. All the talk about Kristen Michael during training camp, but Sherman Smith, running back coach, right next to Marshawn there. He was really impressed by the season that Turbo put together last season. And he's going to be the guy that could get a dozen or so carries tonight.
And he's deep in the eye right now. Gets the carry, stutter steps through a hole, inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line. This is becoming Turbin's drive.
What should stand out to you, those first couple runs, as you see a Denver Bronco unfortunately down right now. First couple runs, Denver stalemate at the point of attack. Look at that movement. See Paul McQuiston, the left guard. Whenever you recreate that line of scrimmage, a yard and a half downhill, you allow your running back to get square. And Okung, once again, back-to-back tremendous blocks in the run game.
Picks up 8 yards on the run. It'll be 1st and goal when we come back. There's an injured Bronco down on the field right now. To get his number, so don't want to call out a name just yet, but let's go back to that run by Turbin.
When you get into the red zone and the field condenses, you got to have multiple players up front getting you blocks, and keep an eye in particular on the rookie Luke Wilson. We talked about his speed earlier. This looks like Zach Miller cutting the backside defensive end down. You can't do it any better than that. And then the patience of Turbin. You're going to find a lot of young running backs who run right back into those blocks. Instead, he lets the play develop. And give some credit to Luke Wilson. He told us yesterday, I need to get my pads down. I did some blocking at Rice. I didn't mind mixing it up. But a good rep there, quality reps, starters versus starters in the red zone. And that's teaching tape. That's cutting the thigh pad out and giving Turbin a lane.
Now, this is that time of the game you always remember. This is still preseason. You never want to see anybody get injured at all, but certainly not in a preseason game. And we're going to take another look at the replay and see if we can't get an exact number on who this is, because you don't want to speculate in a situation like this as they brought out the stretcher to take him off the field. Well, if you look at that replay and the guy who's down on the field, we believe that it's number 95, Derek Wolfe, second-year defensive end out of the University of Cincinnati, but they've been treating him as John Fox, the head coach of the Broncos, looks on. Ever since he went down, he hasn't gotten up. They brought the stretcher out, and they're going to cart him off the field.
And Wolf's a key player for Denver. Remember, they lost Elvis Dumervil in that contract squabble this offseason. Wolf started every game as a rookie a season ago. I think that's exactly who that is. And unfortunately, when you play this Seattle group within your front seven, you are going to get cut blocked. Unfortunately for the defense, fortunate for the Seahawks with their physicality, but you're going to get cut blocked. You're going to have pulling guards. You're going to have tight ends that'll pull around and wham. You got to have your head on a swivel, and unfortunately here, taking every precaution, and we hope for the very best for Derek Wolfe, who had such a fine season as a rookie just last year in Denver.
Yeah, certainly a difficult situation as you see players from both teams around and concerned for his health, because no one wants to see anybody ever get hurt. But certainly, again, this is just preseason football, and we can talk about how anticipated it is and how much the players want to play. They all do know that at the same time it's just a glorified scrimmage. And as you said, taking every precaution.
It's exactly what Seattle wanted to do to begin this game as far as moving the ball. We talked about in the open of the show, the mock game went the way of the defense. Last week, just 2 series for Russell Wilson in the offense, but didn't cross midfield. You wanted to come out here and possess the ball. A good 6-minute drive here, a mix of run and pass, and even overcoming penalties, which was really such a key factor for the Seahawks group in the second half last season, Kurt. People will forget the Washington game, the Atlanta game, some of the big moments. There were critical penalties to overcome. A lot of that has to do with the threatening the defense in running the ball, and then the play action, the deadly play action pass that comes off of it. You tell me someone who's better in the play action pass in this league on the move than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you can't think of anybody, really.
Aaron Rodgers is up there. He does an excellent job. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, as far as play action between the tackles, are tremendous. But I don't know if anybody on the move does it better than number 3.
And while they continue to attend to Wolf, we'll take another timeout. While we were away, they loaded Wolf into the ambulance, and they're taking him off the field right now. They have him strapped down, just making sure that he can't move and doesn't do any more potential damage.
And the league doing all it can, Kurt, to protect these guys in that helmet-to-helmet contact. And unfortunately, between the tackles and in that run game, as fast as that action is, as violent as it can be with a team that loves to establish the run, unfortunately there with Wolf, you saw helmet-to-helmet contact, and let's hope for the best for him tonight.
Absolutely, our thoughts with him and his family. As we get back to football, it's been more than 9 minutes since the last snap, and the Seahawks had a drive that had some momentum. They picked up 58 yards, a couple in chunks, got it inside the 10. We'll see if they can pick up where they left off. Movement before the ball was snapped.
Ball start. Offense number 67, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Paul McQuiston called for that one. And really, you got to think not much surprise that after such a long delay, guys have a little trouble getting back in rhythm.
Probably tells you it was going to be a run play, just like many of them have been on that left side, wearing them down, really controlling the line of scrimmage. And your offensive guard wanting the best he can do to get off that snap and drive the defender. But good little mix there. And don't be surprised to see Golden Tate's been so effective in the red zone scoring touchdowns.
Snap is fumbled. Wilson picks it back up, goes the other way. Caught. Jermaine Kearse. Touchdown, Seahawks. "12 yards on the Wilson to Kearse touchdown pass."
I've seen them working on that. They fumble the snap, They freeze the defense. Actually, I have not seen that. And a bit of a surprise between Unger and Wilson, but no panic, no concern whatsoever. And an excellent route. You see Kearse turn the hips of that corner, and as a quarterback, even with the fumbled snap, he gets his eyes up, and he can see once Chris Harris's hips were turned, that ball goes to the outside, and Kearse continues to build on what's been an excellent training camp for the former Husky.
It really has, and this is what Darrell Bevel wanted to see out of this offense. Come out and establish something right away. They had a nice long drive that ends in a touchdown. First touchdown for this first unit this preseason. Hauska on to add the extra point. And he does. So a nice drive for the Seahawks. Kearse gets his second touchdown of the preseason. 10 plays, 65 yards, a score, and a little pushing and shoving after the extra point. Just for added emphasis. And there's a flag. In this case, a lot of times you see both teams get called just to try and settle things down. But a good first drive by Wilson and the Seahawks offense.
The extra point is good. Dead ball, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 99 of the defense. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Time.
So the personal foul only called on Kevin Vickerson, the one-time Seahawk, now with Denver.
You know what I love about Jermaine Kearse? Remember a week ago we were talking about some of these young guys just slowing the game down. As excited as you are to be in front of the 12th man, and it's in full force tonight. This does not feel like a preseason game. You knew that the quarterback was not going to panic. He showed you all regular season long, okay, fumbled snap, I can overcome it. But for Jermaine to continue to play this game like a veteran, he didn't rush his route. He knew he had one-on-one coverage. The same thing with his touchdown a week ago. He read the coverage. He doesn't rush it. He sets it up. He runs a beautiful inside move to turn the hips of the DB. And that's how you gain confidence and trust with your quarterback. You want the ball thrown your way? Yeah. Well, you keep creating separation like that, scoring touchdowns. You're not only going to gain the trust of your quarterback, gain the trust of your coordinator, your head coach, and you're going to find yourself on the football field more and more.
Continues to show just how much he has grown between year 1 and 2. I mean, because everybody remembers coming out of Washington, the question was consistency. He didn't have a lot of that, and thus far in training camp and in the 2 preseason games, he has shown it.
And it's somewhat the dichotomy of playing fast, play fast. You hear coaches say that all the time, but you also got to play slow enough that you don't freak out on your technique, that you set up your routes, that you can finish. And Jermaine's really been so good this entire offseason.
Kickoff from the 50 after the penalty. Was there a question? Through everything. Stephen Hauska taking care of business. Seahawks have a good laugh on the sideline after that one.
And a good 3 and out for the head coach and his defense. 3 straight passes for Denver and Peyton Manning to open this game. They tested the outside, tested Brandon Browner on a comeback on a short end. That Seahawk Legion of Boom and secondary responds. Let's see if Denver tries to come out and establish a little bit of the run here in drive number 2.
Didn't run it at all on that first drive. Manning, silent count, hands it off to Ronnie Hillman. 1 cut. And Hillman going to be tackled after a short gain. KJ Wright in there on the tackle. Give him 4 yards on the play, and there are the guys up front. We talked on the pregame show about Jordan Hill and the opportunity the rookie is taking advantage of every single chance he gets.
And
Bobby Wagner back in the lineup after missing last week with a shoulder injury. And there's that secondary everybody knows, the Legion of Boom.
And you're also seeing Mayowa getting a lot of reps with the number 1s at defensive end.
That ball tipped, but still complete out to Thomas, the tight end. Big hit delivered by Bobby Wagner, knocked off Cam Chancellor's helmet. What do they call it? Friendly fire.
Cam doesn't care. I'll tell you who cares. These receivers and skill guys, it's not that they're looking to get down, but they know contact is coming when they're in the open field with this secondary.
Needing the 30. Demarius Thomas got it and more out across the 40-yard line. Finally wrapped up by Cam Chancellor and Jerron Johnson, but only after he picked up 16 yards.
There's a reason he had 1,400 yards a year ago in Thomas. He's so physical, and the O-line of Denver does just enough there. The Seahawks bring an extra one. They leave Thurman in some one-on-one coverage here. He gets bumped off, and you see the big body and the strength of Thomas. While he was a Pro Bowler a year ago, so physical.
Broncos going with that no huddle again. Manning over the middle of the field, down the left side. Thomas, ball was stripped. Fumble called. Brandon Browner ripped it out of there. Cam Chancellor picks it up and takes it back the other way. The Seahawks defense creating another turnover. Coaches always say the play is never over until the whistle is blown. This a prime example. Pass caught. Brandon Browner still gets a hand in there, strips it, and it's Seahawks ball. Well, certainly not the start Peyton Manning wanted. 3 and out on the first possession. His receiver stripped on the second by Brandon Browner.
Julius Thomas, the former basketball player at Portland State. I see 1, 2, 3 strides, and there's the 6'8" wingspan to the pterodactyl that we know around here as Brandon Browner. Knows his strengths, knows how to take. You've seen that too many times. It's technique, and then it's finish. He knows exactly what he's doing and ripping the ball away.
And the Seahawks have it at their own 46 after the turnover. Russell Wilson going deep for Tate. Caught! Golden Tate. Nice reception along the sideline. They'll mark it down to the 21-yard line of Denver. Another big game for the Seahawks offense.
And I think that's against the Hall of Famer to be. Champ Bailey can't get his hands on Tate, and Tate never lifts his hands. A 12-time Pro Bowler is going to react to Golden Tate if he looks back, if he slows down, if he lifts his hands up. I can promise you Champ Bailey's going to rip up through, and instead Golden stays calm, cool, and collected, and just a perfect throw from Russell Wilson.
Gain of 33 on the play. Wilson. Overthrew McGrath, incomplete. Flag down after the incompletion. Missed opportunity there as he had a step on Stuart Bradley.
Pass interference. Offense number 89 blocking downfield. It's a 10-yard penalty. 3-play first down.
Doug Baldwin called for the penalty, and the Seahawks have had a couple here in the early going tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be 4 penalties, a couple holding calls, the false start. And I think unfortunately there for Doug, he's not trying to block, he's trying to get away, but if that ball is not thrown and you lock your arms out, that's the appropriate call.
And so Seattle backed up to the 31-yard line. Lynch alone in the backfield gets the carry. Nowhere to run. Maybe a yard on the play. There's his second token carry of the preseason.
Well, my sources were wrong. What do you want me to say? I apologize. He got a second carry there.
He probably talked his way back in after the way Turbin looked on that first drive. Not that his job is threatened by any means, but it's one of those where if everybody's having fun, let me in on it. See those numbers, no question that he is the beast. All kinds of time for Wilson. Incomplete, intended for Curse.
Good coverage there. As you see the first incompletion for Russell. Just man underneath there. You actually have the call you want. You had the shallow crosses trying to create a rub route. That's what an offense calls it. Defense calls it a pick play. Could not get much separation. And that first down pass interference now creates a 3rd and extra long. A situation here that you don't have to get it all. You want to make sure you get enough to make an even easier field goal if need be.
And with that, they just handed off to Turbin. There was a hole for a second, but he got tripped up. So he won't get close to the first down, but as you say, 6 yards more makes the field goal, hopefully, a little bit easier for Seattle.
And they overcame the 2 holding calls and the false start, but that first down, unfortunately, that first down pass interference call set him up in a 3rd and 20. And that's awfully close. You see McQuiston doing his job, getting a body, even throwing the defender down. But unfortunately, Sean Phillips falls into that tackle and sets up the 42-yard field goal.
And you can see Hauschka was perfect inside 50 last year, and so far the preseason, same story. And so Seattle turns the turnover into points. A 42-yard field goal by Stephen Hauschka, 2 possessions for the Seahawks offense. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery and Department of Imagination. Imagine the possibilities. Just over 5 minutes left in this opening quarter. Seahawks up 10-0 on the Denver Broncos. Good news while we were away, Derek Wolfe, who you saw carted off the field earlier, they're saying he has a cervical spine injury, but the good news is that he has movement in all his extremities. That's always an encouraging sign. And so after the field goal, Stephen Hauschka set to kick off again. Trendon Holiday going to take a knee. And once again, Peyton Manning will start at his own 20.
Well, that's nice to see. One of them was a gimme from the 50 because of the personal foul, but 3 kickoffs and 3 touchbacks for Stephen Hauschka. Not known for his leg, as you said earlier, perfect under 50, but to put Peyton Manning and to back him up as much as you possibly can, that's a job well done from Hauschka. Almost hit the 61-yarder a year ago. Let's hope these are all signs, because if he adds that element to his game, it becomes even that much more complete of a kicker.
Noise increases. Hillman caught in the backfield, absolutely nowhere to go. There before he even got back to the line of scrimmage was Bobby Wagner.
Bobby's been dealing with a bit of a shoulder issue practice this week. He's right in the middle of your screen here, and he reads it and diagnoses it. And unlike an Alan Bradford that's trying to trust of when to fire and pull the trigger, Wagner has a season under his belt, and he cuts it loose.
2-yard loss on the play. Manning quickly out to Welker. Wes Welker escapes one tackle, gets out near that first down marker. 11 or 12, depending on where they spot it.
And you don't see that much. Seattle brings a blitz, and you're going to see a missed tackle here in the open field. Forces the hot throw. Everything's right in front of you. And that's the play, unfortunately, that Earl makes 9 out of 10 times. Can't bring down Welker there.
12 yards and a first down. Ronnie Hillman gets around Mayola. Couldn't quite make it around the corner. KJ Wright forces him out of bounds. Give him 2 yards.
Linebackers are playing fast, aren't they?
They always do.
Some of the conversation, though, just 2 series a week ago against San Diego were on the field for 7.5 minutes. And they talked about bringing just an extra little energy. You're going to get home, play in front of this crowd, and Bobby, KJ flying around here early.
Empty backfield for Manning and the Broncos. Steps up, ball tipped and caught. Julius Thomas, the tight end, with the grab, tackled at the 50-yard line by KJ Wright. Good concentration for the young man.
In talking to John Lynch, doing the broadcast for Denver, he talked about Julius Thomas been really good throughout camp. Led them in receptions a week ago, and you see the burden on a linebacker, a one-on-one with a highly athletic tight end.
18 yards on that play, and here's their second-round draft pick. Monte Ball, the rookie out of Wisconsin, takes it into Seattle territory.
That's 2nd and 10. You blitz, you have a chance to force a 3rd and 10, and unfortunately that missed tackle moves the chains and allows some of this tempo for Denver to play to their strengths.
Manning under center, one of the rare times tonight. Off the fake. Incomplete, intended for Demaryius Thomas. Brandon Browner there with him step for step and swatted it away.
Game ball 13 minutes in, I think it's going to be Browner. That's now 3 occasions, and actually a 4th where he forces the fumble. It's been a comeback, it's been a short in, and this time you got to run all the way across the field. This is not easy for a corner to do, and Browner not known for his elite speed. There is no separation and no place for Peyton to fit that ball in.
And so now a 3rd down for the Broncos. Pressure. Wide open, Julius Thomas down the sideline. Big gain for the Broncos on 3rd down. Talk about converting it. 31 yards. Manning a little bit slow to get up.
Yeah, Peyton takes the shot. We saw this a week ago in bunch. This is what you're going to get for the Seahawks. And just some miscommunication there. When you get into a bunch formation there, you've got to communicate who's in, who's out. Ooh, and Peyton takes a good blow from Bobby Wagner. Textbook right through you, old man. How's that neck feel? How's that fusion? A good shot from Bobby. But you know Peyton is tough, and he's going to get up and keep ticking. But they've got to sort out that bunch package. The Chargers a week ago, Denver, the big play there on 3rd down.
To the 15. Handoff, Ball. Monte Ball picks up 4 more yards.
When you shut people down one-on-one, when you can lock them down, Kurt, outside, when you cut down those throwing lanes, teams will have to plan and scheme. They'll stack their receivers. They'll bunch their receivers. They'll try to create some confusion there. Another good rep for Seattle to work through, to practice through, and better in the preseason than the regular season.
Manning. Wobbly, but gets there. Wes Welker into the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos. 11 yards on the score from Manning to Welker.
His arm looks stronger than last preseason, doesn't it? I mean, they talked about it in Denver and coming out of camp, that Peyton's a whole lot further than he was this time a year ago. And you see maybe a little wobble, but plenty of zip. And that's Antoine Winfield. Those are the matchups here. Walter Thurman's fighting and scratching and clawing with Antoine, trying to fight him for that nickel job. And we know Wes Welker's only done that 786 times in his career with receptions. Those one-on-one little option out routes, he gets the better of Winfield there.
And Prater adds the extra point, caps off a 9-play, 80-yard drive. Peyton Manning with a touchdown pass, hooking up with Wes Welker. As you said, we've seen Welker do that before. You got a feeling the Broncos will see him do that a lot this season. Visit your Puget Sound Acura dealers to test drive the extremely new 2014 MDX. Less than 2 minutes to go here in this opening period. 10-7, Seahawks on top of Denver.
Take a look at 2 things here. This is going to be Decker outside, and you tell me if he blocks early. Secondly, Welker, and he's done this so many times in his career, he can feel that nickel back in zone coverage. Antoine loses him just enough. Decker's blocking. Went the wrong way for the Seahawks earlier on Doug Baldwin with some contact down the field. That time Decker in the red zone gets away with it, and Welker creates space in that zone. Touchdown Denver, exactly why they signed him.
Jermaine Kearse brings it out of the end zone with room. Beats the kicker, open field, flags down on the play, however, as Kearse will take it all the way back. We'll see if it stands. Well, this will be interesting.
I think it's going to be late. I think it was one of those late blocks down the field, but what a camp for Jermaine Kearse.
There is no foul for holding on the play. The result is a touchdown.
Wow, so they pick the flag up. It's 107 yards. Jermaine Kearse, a receiving touchdown tonight, and now showing off on special teams.
Well, everybody does their job. I mean, you can't do it much better than that. You don't get the block in the back early. It's you and the kicker. That's a stiff arm and a win. We saw Blair Bush raise the 12th man flag earlier as a Husky turned Seahawk, and here's Jermaine Kearse, a year ago undrafted, fought his way onto the team, onto the roster with the little things in special teams, and now he's doing it all. His routes are precise. He's catching the ball. He's finishing plays. He had the LASIK eye surgery in the offseason. He didn't need any laser surgery there. Hit the crease 100 miles an hour. And man, that has to feel good for the former dog.
Hauschka adds the extra point, and the Seahawks answer the Broncos, specifically Jermaine Kearse answers the Broncos, takes it 107 yards, just 1 yard shy, where it's the regular season of what would be the NFL record of 108. But as you said, this kid just continues to impress in every opportunity he's been given so far in camp.
You know, one thing that you've loved in getting the chance is we've gotten the chance to get close to this team and to see them behind the scenes is how much they like each other and playing ball with one another. And there's no envy, there's no jealousy. I mean, there's a true joy to talk to a Golden Tate and a Doug Baldwin and a Sidney Rice and to see Jermaine do everything the right way. Nothing handed to him as an undrafted guy, had to earn every opportunity. And you see Sidney right there. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. You gain respect from your peers when you put the hard work in, and you see it in the level of detail in his routes. You see with him catching the ball. You saw this in flashes and spurts at the University of Washington, but now you're seeing it more consistently in 3 touchdowns. The seam route a week ago, the perfect corner route, and now the explosive 107-yard kickoff return for that guy, Pete Carroll, who puts his players in a position to go out there and take it and earn it and win it and compete. That's exactly what Kearse has done.
And just another good play on special teams so far we've seen in 5 quarters for the Seahawks. Punt return, coverage, kickoff return, and coverage. And another kick through the end zone by Hauschka. And more pushing and shoving. Well, this has been a long first quarter, but it's been an exciting one. Lots of scoring so far, just about every way imaginable.
Pretty good efficiency, really, by both offenses. And when you give 18 time, I don't care how good you are, he's going to find ways in zone coverage to beat you. But that bunch route, that was the big one on 3rd down. The missed tackle on 2nd and 10. You could have got to a 3rd and 10. It's the little list of details when you're playing a Hall of Fame quarterback. You got to be on point.
Starting at the 20 again. Ronnie Hillman, stutter steps. Brandon Mebane catches him from behind. He falls forward for about 4 yards. Seahawks are saying the ball's out. No call from the officials just yet. 2nd down.
Oh, that ball's out. That ball is out, and you got to throw the flag here, I think. If someone could get in Pete's ear, you've got to challenge this one. That ball was clearly out. Once again, the technique to rip and claw and tear the ball away. We saw Browner earlier. Let's see if they get the challenge flag out.
So far, no flag. And they don't throw it. Ronnie Hillman bouncing around. Going to fall about a yard shy of the 1st down, and Pete Carroll and company either didn't agree that ball was out so clearly that it would get it overturned, or deciding just to hold on to that challenge for a little bit as we're still in the 1st quarter.
Yeah, I think you got to get in his ear here. I don't care what time of the game it is. You're going to get the ball at the 20. I don't think there is any doubt. There's no body part down. That ball is out. That should be Seahawk ball at the 23, but one of the challenges of playing an up-tempo team like Denver.
Keep in mind, though, you have to make sure that you could see the Seahawks recover. So even though you saw that it was a fumble, Seattle may not have gotten the ball as Manning zips that one up high. Eric Decker with the catch right in front of Richard Sherman, but picks up the 1st down. That'll take us to the end of the 1st quarter. An exciting one it has been. 24 combined points, pass receptions for scores, kickoff returns for scores, and we're only 1 period into the 2nd preseason game. Imagination. Imagine the possibilities. 1 quarter down here in the 2nd preseason game. Kurt Menefee, Brock Heward with you from CenturyLink. 17-7, Seattle on top.
And I think you're right. I think they ripped that ball out, but it looks like the running back was going to fall back on it. It was going to be possession to Denver. But
no challenge flag.
But you love the way they're scrapping and clawing, and the real points of emphasis for Dan Quinn this preseason has been those techniques of finishing and ripping at all points.
Ronnie Hillman has to cut it back inside. Good second effort, if you will, getting out to the 45-yard line. Bobby Wagner in there on the tackle, as both teams still have the majority of their starters in the ball game.
I don't think it's a surprise. I think both coaches wanted to play their guys. For Denver, they wanted to come into the hostility of this environment. I think for Seattle defensively, just 2 series a week ago, they wanted to play to the energy of this place as well. We'll see just how long into the 2nd quarter both starters groups go.
Manning under center. Demaryius Thomas goes up and pulls it down in front of Richard Sherman. into Seahawk territory. First down for Denver. 22 yards on the play, and I know what you were saying. Brandon Mebane was coming, and it looked like he got grabbed, but no flag.
It sure came out of my mouth, didn't it? He gets a tremendous inside push. It's got to be a hold. I mean, you just can't grab, and usually when it's in the open field like that, you get the call, but the physicality and the high point of Thomas, it's what you got to do against one of the best corners in this game, Richard Sherman.
Ball's at the 31. Hillman. Bottled up. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. 1 yard on the play. Cam Chancellor in there on the stop.
That was well done by Cam, who was locked up for the next 4 years here in Seattle. Just staying square. You stay square, you allow your buddies to come help you and clean up there at the line of scrimmage. These are the situations you got to put Peyton Manning in this offense in. You can't afford to give them 4 or 5 yards on first down.
Manning forced to call the timeout. First timeout taken by either team. 13:02 remaining here in this second quarter. 17-7, Seahawks holding on right now, with Peyton and the Broncos knocking on the door. From the practice field to the game day locker room, stay up to date with the Seahawks all season long. Connect with the team on Facebook, check out behind-the-scenes photos and videos on Instagram, and follow the Seahawks Twitter for instant updates and more. Well, lots to talk about right now. So far in this preseason, Seahawks won their opener 31-10 over San Diego, now lead 17-7 over the Broncos.
Some good one-on-ones outside, strength on strength, big receivers, big corners.
Manning gets the handoff. Monte Ball gobbled up. Jordan Hill on the stop. Bobby Wagner there as well. 3 yards on the play.
A lot of bodies around the line of scrimmage. Kind of surprised they're in second and long, one-on-ones outside. You see the box fully loaded up. Excellent penetration there, right at the point by Michael Bennett. That little charge, putting that guard 2 yards deep into the backfield. Well, that's enough to set up a 3rd and 6 situation here. You've got to tackle well. And once again, press coverage. Keep an eye right here. This is a good little matchup. This is such a competitive environment at that nickel situation.
And that's Demaryius Thomas, the big receiver for Denver. Peyton looking that way. Throws to Thomas. Makes the catch. Brandon Browner finally wrestled him out of bounds, but you called it, and it was good enough for a Denver first down.
Well, it's not rocket science. This is what you're going to get. I showed you a bunch earlier. This is what they call a stack formation. That's to try to help and alleviate some of the press and the physicality and make those corners think just a little bit. Do we need to switch this off and pass it off? And that's excellent execution from a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Pro Bowl receiver.
13 yards down to the 14. Hillman stutter steps again. Cam Chancellor wraps him up. 3 yards on the gain.
I want to talk about two really good defenses. They were no more different than down here in the red zone. The Seahawks were so good at not allowing scores. The strength, the strong tackling, the length of these DBs. The field condenses, the windows condense. Seattle's so good here a year ago in limiting touchdowns.
Hillman inside the 10, tripped up by Chancellor, down at the 9-yard line.
For as good as Denver was, second in yards, first in yards per play, first in sacks on defense, they were 25th in giving up red zone touchdowns. The Seahawks on the flip side, well, they were 4th best, only 44% of the time. We saw the touchdown earlier. We saw it in the option route to Wes Welker, the little out route. Well, here's both a 3rd down opportunity and a red zone opportunity to keep this Bronco potent offense to a field goal. And what do you get? Well, you get bunch once again. You better communicate through this noise.
5 yards from a first down, 9 yards from a score. The handoff, Hillman. Gonna be short of both. Stopped right at the 5-yard line. Jordan Hill
what a
with
nice
a tackle,
play, huh?
And this is one thing they knew this kid could do coming out of school, play the run.
What a big play here, but immediately Denver does not even give you time to look at the replay. They're going to go for it, but that's well done and excellent use of the hands from the rookie.
Here's Hillman, gets the first down and more. Going to be down inside the 2-yard line. Bobby Wagner with the stop, but only after Hillman picks up the first.
And what a good test. I think you are seeing two of the best teams in all the NFL tonight. So diverse and balanced, showing you the run and the pass. And that time they get the better of the rookie. They get the push on Bennett. Enough to get the first down here.
First and goal from the 2. Timeout.
First charge, timeout.
Seattle. Well, we said before the game, both these teams talked about how much they were anticipating this matchup. It's lived up to the hype thus far. Another look at how Denver picked up the first down.
You're going to see the combo block on the rookie. More importantly, watch the Pro Bowler, Cam Chancellor, flying through here. He nearly makes this play in the backfield. Tough double team on the rookie. And that's a play you saw Earl Thomas earlier on a 2nd and 10 situation on Welker. And just a little half step there, awfully close to making that play in the backfield and getting off the field.
And instead it's first and goal from the 2. Ronnie Hillman back to the line of scrimmage. Red Bryant still wrestling him. And as you might guess, Bronco offensive linemen don't like that.
Well, there's one thing about Peyton Manning and his offense, and he's got a lot of command of this one. It's an old Tom Moore philosophy in Indianapolis as well. They're going to keep running it until you stop it. They're going to get into these formations and into these looks and continue to challenge the Seahawks. You're going to see bunch. Wouldn't be surprised at all if you see Welker, and they'll try to get an advantage in the numbers game and the run game as well. But this right here looks like old-fashioned downhill football.
Yeah, 3 tight ends and the fullback. Hillman cuts it inside, gets in the end zone, but the ball came out. Did he cross the plane of the goal line? No, he didn't, as the Seahawks have recovered. And there's your guy again, Brandon Browner. Another big play, no flags. They're going to have to determine whether or not that ball came out before it crossed the goal line. And now there's a late flag down here at midfield.
Wow, what a tackle. Heath Farwell, helmet to football.
Peyton Manning doing his lobbying. It's been a busy night for this officiating crew.
There's something about this stadium and the way the ball bounces in this place.
The ruling on the field of a touchdown is confirmed after the play of conduct. At the 25. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So that flag that's down on the field is after the touchdown, which stands.
Take a look at Heath Farwell, middle linebacker. You're going to see some bodies in the way of that goal line, but Heath Farwell puts his helmet. Dave Wyman's going to tell you at halftime, and any linebacker, you put your helmet right on the football. I talked about teaching tape earlier with Russell Wilson. We've seen teaching tape from Brandon Browner, Heath Farwell as well. Lots of yards, lots of offense.
And a frustrated Peyton Manning. Hillman coughs it up. Brandon Browner takes it all the way. End zone to end zone. It's now 24-7. Well, Peyton Manning trying to get some type of explanation for what's going on with his offense right now. This Seattle defense and special teams unit, a couple of big plays. 106 yards on the fumble recovery. Return for a touchdown by Brandon Browner.
The score not really indicative of the flow of this game, but turnovers are always the great equalizer. Brandon Browner having one heck of a half here for the Seahawks.
Had the strip earlier that led to a field goal, and now the fumble recovery. Return for a touchdown. And he can do nothing but smile over there on the sideline. Auska with a short kickoff. Trindon Holiday. This guy's a burner if he gets in the open field. He doesn't. Stop short of the 30-yard line.
That's still pretty good, 15 yards backed up, and Brandon Browner saying, who says I can't run? I just showed you speed from 108, and Jermaine Kearse as well on his kickoff.
Scoring is easy when you do it in bunches. 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards already, and we're just midway through the second quarter.
But it's always the details and the fundamentals, why coaches talk about it all the time. Those don't happen by accident. Heath Farwell gets his pads down, puts his face mask right on the football. Jermaine Kearse gets all the help from his buddies on kickoff return. No blocks in the back. Brandon Browner stripping and ripping. The constant message there at the VMAC. It's all about the ball. You take the ball away defensively. You hold on to it offensively. And even when Peyton's in rhythm and completing passes the way he has and some of the best receivers in this game, you can put up all those yards. But if you don't take care of the ball, give yourself a great chance to win if you're the Seahawks.
Yeah, Denver having trouble now getting the play called. And this was after a kick return on first down, so they instead called a timeout. And Peyton Manning, we saw a little bit of frustration on the sideline there. You know he's got to be feeling it right now.
Yeah, he took a good shot, a lot of physicality. Probably no surprise, as much as Pete has taken care of these guys. Farwell, a veteran, the young guys alike, both of them very fresh. Only had 2 fully padded practices, no live contact. Some really good teaching tape, both in the takeaway game and even the form tackles with Wagner and Farwell and crew.
Broncos begin at the 27. Manning back to pass, rolling. Doing his Russell Wilson impression, I guess. Finally throws that out of bounds. You don't see Peyton Manning doing that a whole lot.
But a much better job there getting sticky with the Seahawks defense. It wasn't a full-on bunch pass, but that was what they've done all night long. Little flats, little options, and no place to go for Peyton. And no, he's not going to create like that guy does. But Russell doesn't look to run. He'll tell you that. He looks to extend plays like that, but when he has to go, he's got a different gear than number 18.
Manning changing the play.
Once again, one-on-ones, all the Seahawks at the line of scrimmage.
Hands it off, Monte Ball, big hole. Ball going to scoot his way out to the 35-yard line. Wrapped up by Bobby Wagner, who has had a nice night. Been pretty busy, 8 yards on the gain. Earl Thomas there to help out too.
That's too big a hole, unfortunately, up front. That's not what you want to see if you're Dan Quinn. But Earl's willing to finish. You know that. Let's see if the Seahawks can get off the field on a 3rd down. These are all excellent opportunities to learn about your defense, to evaluate. Empty, you expect pass here. Let's see who Peyton tries to pick on.
We've got the running back Monte Ball out wide to the right. Manning looks that way, goes for him, flag on the play. He's covered by Smith, and we'll see if Malcolm Smith gets called for touching early. Actually, it would be touching late, after 5 yards. This has been a busy night for this officiating crew, led by Ron Torbert.
Now, this has been a lot of really good football tonight.
There are multiple fouls on the play. Illegal formation by the offense. Number 75 was not lined up on the line of scrimmage. Illegal contact. Defense, number 53. Those penalties offset. Replay, 3rd down.
Do over.
Here's the penalty on Smith outside, a one-on-one with a running back. Double move action there, and oftentimes they'll let you get away with that. They don't let the linebacker get away with it.
Same situation, 3rd and short. Manning. Broken up. Flag on the play as well. Walter Thurman Breaks up the pass that was intended right over the heart of the field. Let's see what the penalty marker's for.
I think illegal formation again, should decline it. And there's some of the speed and quickness that Walter Thurman has flashed all training camp long.
Illegal formation. Offense number 75 on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
And this is just what he's got. He's got the ability to close and to finish. And why he's pushing Antoine Winfield. Does he have the hand on the hip just a little bit? Sure he does, but not enough to tug and get the call, and instead gets that other arm out in front. That's why that's a very heated battle.
We've got another penalty marker before the ball's even snapped on the punt.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 74. It's a 15-yard penalty. 4th down.
Orlando Franklin called this time. Chris Clark had been called back-to-back for the illegal formation. More and more frustration showing for Denver.
You know, what I said earlier about a lot of good football tonight, Kurt, is many times you get this preseason and it's just vanilla. This is not vanilla. Neither of these teams have really game planned or schemed, but they know enough about each other to know how they want to attack. So you're seeing so many of the concepts that I think this Seahawks defense is going to face throughout this season with the way they're built and constructed. And you're also seeing one of the best offenses in this league. When it's said and done this year in 2013, Denver will be as good as anybody.
Here's Golden Tate from the 39. Spinning. Gets around the corner into Bronco territory. Another big return by the Seahawks special team. Inside the Denver 30-yard line, Golden Tate this time is the man to do it.
Well, if anybody wanted some of the hype and expectation to diminish with your Seattle Seahawks team, it's not going to happen. In fact, I think all you're doing is fanning the flames of excitement with what you're getting out of your special teams, out of your offense, out of your playmaking tonight. And Golden Tate doing what he did all year a season ago, showing that he's got the strength of a running back downstairs, and if you're going to arm tackle, he's going to run through them.
33 yards on the return to the 28-yard line. Wilson, empty backfield, out of the shotgun. Fires overthrew Doug Baldwin, who had a step. Incomplete.
When was the last time the Hawks were on the field offensively? About 45 minutes ago?
It's been a while. Defense and special teams. Scoring too much, too quickly.
What you will learn very quickly about this offense, when there is change of momentum plays, be it turnovers or punts, you can expect a shot. They get in empty there, and just a yard off of Doug Baldwin on that seam route.
Guys in the truck looked it up. 43 minutes since the last time the Seahawks offense touched the ball. Turbin kind of gets sideways down to the 23-yard line.
2nd and 10 after you take your shot. What do you want to do? You want to get into a much more manageable 3rd down. If you can do that, that's exactly what you got now. Now that full playbook is open on 3rd and 5. You can run your option routes, your slant routes, your quick game. Heck, you could even come back with a run if this is a situation where head coach gets in your headset and says, hey, we're not playing for a field goal here, 4-down territory. But instead, they're going to go into that empty where Russell is also so dangerous, keeping that play alive and extending them with his legs.
Looking for the 18. Thrown too hard, incomplete. That ball was tipped. Danny Trevathan, the linebacker. Just gets right in between the Seahawk pass pattern. And so Hauska will come in to attempt a field goal. Made one from 42 yards earlier tonight. This one will be from 41 yards out. And it is good as well. The Seahawks put more points on the board thanks to the big return by Golden Tate. They're up by 20. Well, whether you're looking for a jersey, sweatshirt, cap, or other Seahawks merchandise, the Pro Shop is your source for the best selection of 100% authentic Seahawks gear. Visit the 2 locations today or shop online at Seahawks.com. A lot of people in Seattle proud to wear that Seahawks gear right now, not only because of last season, but because of the expectations going into this year. And so far through the preseason, Seahawks fulfilling it. Russell Wilson and the offense have had the ball 3 times tonight. They've scored a touchdown, added 2 field goals. Special teams has added a 107-yard kick return, and the defense has scored a 106-yard fumble return.
I'm going to guess number 3, at least by my analysis, maybe the most popular jersey in the building tonight.
Here's Trindon Holiday out of the end zone. Oh, was he hit right at the 20-yard line? Looked like he was about to take a step, but there Walter Thurman was to meet him.
We praise Jermaine Kearse for doing all the little things right. How about Walter Thurman playing special teams?
He continues to impress.
I think there was a lot of surprise when early in camp the conversation was, hey, can he beat out Antoine Winfield? Antoine Winfield, a 15-year vet. Thurman's making that case very interesting, and in comes Brock Osweiler. And that is one tall drink of water, every bit of 6'8" from Kalispell, Montana, via ASU. We'll see if his group can take care of the ball better than Peyton's.
Second-year man out of Arizona State. Play fake, dumps it off. Monte Ball, and he goes nowhere. As soon as Ball caught the football, Alan Bradford, now in the game at linebacker, was there to wrap him up. And there's Peyton Manning saying, not really the night I wanted, but numbers aren't that bad.
He's saying, how in the world are we down 20 in this place when we were really as efficient as we were in many phases? 3rd down conversions, 4th down run, moving the ball between the 20s and 20 to 20. But when you don't take care of the ball and you can't finish and you fumble in the end zone, you create momentum plays, negative plays in this environment, awfully hard to dig out of.
High snap, Osweiler. Good thing he's 6'8". Able to grab that one and hand it off to Monte Ball. Short gain on the play. There's John Lotulelei, hair and all, in there to make the stop.
Well, you like that right away. I know Dave Wyman will. He'll join us here in just a few minutes. Those linebackers, Alan Bradford, Lotulelei, have been the conversation, Kurt, of really pushing those backup spots. They play so fast, and they are so willing to deliver a blow. We saw it a week ago in San Diego. Pull the trigger. That's been the conversation this week for Bradford, Lotulelei as well. An excellent early defense, forcing a 3rd and 9 where this 12th man should erupt.
They get loud. Timeout.
Delay of game by the offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
My bad. Delay of game, not a timeout. And so the noise affecting this Broncos offense, they couldn't get the ball snapped in time.
This is not the environment you want to be in this stadium.
And you can see Osweiler saying, hurry up, get the call in.
8-0 a year ago, you fall behind here, and you allow the Seahawks to run the ball. I know this is a preseason game. You allow, and you have to throw and get into passing situations with this 12th man. It is a steep hill to climb.
Under pressure, Osweiler throws, falling down, incomplete. Brandon Mebane and Benson Mayowa in there to grab the quarterback and just not allow him to step forward, basically.
In a 4-man rush, and I would expect as you're trying to really evaluate some of your younger guys, and an excellent job. You see Mayowa go down. We saw this a week ago with his hips as well. Going down at 6'3" and 245 pounds, not easy to do. And that wasn't going down just to dive at the ankles. That was to get to the quarterback through any means possible. Well done. Had a little bit of a rough stretch. Keep an eye on him ones-on-ones. But he's going to feast on some of these backups, and especially if they can get Denver into these 3rd and passing situations.
Seattle is challenging the ruling on the field that the quarterback was not down by contact before he...
They'd like to back them up just a little bit more and also get Mayowa a sack, if they can.
I know you love watching every minute of the combine, but they always talk about those hips and knee bend and athleticism. Even while he's going down, Mayowa scratching and clawing. Is that ball out when the knee is down? No, that's an excellent job by Pete. I talked earlier about whether or not to challenge that fumble. I think they knew Hillman recovered, but they got right into Pete's ear there. Folks upstairs saying, hey, Osweiler's knee is down. And that's not for stats. That's for another 7-yard loss. Now you're going to be punting out of your end zone. And they've tilted the field all night with these turnovers. I think with this call, going to do it again. Why not a sack? Sack and a half a week ago. Mayo was saying, that's right. That's a good job, Pete. Give me my sack. Give me my numbers.
Whether it winds up being a sack, he's certainly going to show up on film, and that's where he has really impressed this coaching staff, the things he's been able to do in practice and every opportunity they get to look at it.
Opportunity knocks. Chris Clemens is out with the ACL. We saw him earlier celebrating. Cliff Averill, the other Leo, has battled some foot and some hamstring, though he was back practicing. Will play, I'm sure, next week in Green Bay, and it's opened the door for these youngsters to get reps and reps with the number ones. And he was so fun to talk to yesterday. He walked in the room. There must have been a dozen of us. Radio, the TV, walked up, looked you in the eye, shook your hand, just relishing these chances. As I said in the open, he lost his mom a year ago in July. He said, well, after losing my mom, I lost everything. I have nothing to lose out here but to cut it loose and let it rip exactly what he's doing.
And his story has been told. Played at Idaho, didn't put up big numbers last year, and once you find out he lost his mother, you understand clearly that there were other things he was dealing with. Didn't get to go to the combine, showed up at what they call the regional combines, which usually they just kind of invite guys in the area for PR purposes as much as anything, but every now and then you find a diamond like that. Here's the call on the replay challenge.
After review, the ruling on the field is quarterback's knee was down before he released the ball. It'll be 4th down for Denver at the 9-yard line. The clock will start on the ready for play. Seattle charge with a timeout.
So as you said, backs them up and gives Mayo a sack.
And you always know as a player what that staff thinks of you with the opportunities they give you. And they gave Benson a ton of run with the number ones. And they're giving Thurman some run as well with the starters in that nickel spot. We saw Tate with a beautiful return. Walter had one a week ago in San Diego. Brian Schneider on point, one of the best special teams coaches in this league. A guy that could be a candidate down the road like John Harbaugh was in Baltimore, from special teams coach to head coach. Schneider does such an excellent job with his special teams unit, and they may be as sharp as any unit on this team here early this season.
Here's Thurman. Out across the 45-yard line, 4:23 left to go here in this first half. Seahawks scoring just about every way possible tonight. Defense, special teams, each scoring over 100 yards on single plays, I should say. And then also Russell Wilson, 3 possessions, a touchdown, 2 field goals. He comes back out for a 4th.
But I don't think satisfied with that last drive. Had such favorable field position, could not move the chain, settled for the field goal. Probably a conversation on the sidelines to, hey, let's take advantage of this field position. More than likely the last drive before the Friday night game in Green Bay next week. And capitalize on this field position.
Starting at the Denver 46. Turbin tripped up before he could get outside. He was that close to getting away. Nate Irving just got enough of his foot.
That's twice now, right? We've seen 2 arm tackles. McQuiston had a really good block earlier on the 3rd and extra long. And these are the plays that I bet as this season evolves, as Turbin's just rounding himself back into shape. First full live contact since the end of last season. He does all he can. He shows off his balance there. Those are the plays that Marshawn time and again gets at yards after contact, running through those arm tackles.
Turbin again. Picks up more this time. 4 yards on the play.
Now we're getting a look of a little bit of a mixed up offensive line. You're going to see John Moffitt in the game. I believe big Michael Bowie as well. He's joining Okung. These are valuable opportunities when you're a young guy like a Bowie is. Moffitt's fighting for that right guard spot. This is a good indicator. When are you going in the game? Who are you playing with? Michael Bowie was a tackle his entire career. He's getting some opportunities here at left guard. Big, strong, powerful man as well.
That's a switch you usually don't see. You see guys go from inside at guard to outside at tackle, not often the other way around. Here on third down. Caught. Cooper Helfet, but he stopped short of the first down. Danny Trevathan with the tackle, and Russell Wilson imploring Pete Carroll to go for it.
I think you're going to go here. I think you may want to use some of that clock up. Wind it down. We're getting close to the 2-minute here. Let's see if this is over Michael Bowie, Russell Okung. See if it's over that left side here.
Needing a long yard, Turbin. Can't cut it back. Well, he had the right thought, but he couldn't get around Von Miller.
Well, no surprise there. You know, we asked Darrell Bevel, and we talked about it every time on your call sheet that you call things for in particular players. So not often, certainly not during the regular season. We get in these preseason moments. No surprise that was run behind the left side, but just too much push there. I think Denver knew what was coming as well.
First time tonight, the Seahawks offense has failed to put points on the board. And so Denver takes over at the 38-yard line on downs. Osweiler from the shotgun. Monte Ball. Just still fighting. Malcolm Smith with the tackle.
Take us to the 2-minute warning here. I think Hurt. Yet another good quality cornerback. Why is Walter Thurman? Why is he putting him at risk? Why is he running on the punt? Well, because you love the depth of your secondary. Next man up.
The Seahawks have shown good all around. 2 minutes left in the first half.
Back here at CenturyLink Field, the Seattle Seahawks on top of the Denver Broncos, 27-7. Aaron Levine alongside Dave Wyman. And Dave, the Seahawks pulled the trifecta in the first half. Offensive touchdown, defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown.
Well, and you look at the total yardage numbers, the Broncos are killing the Seahawks in that category, but you remember about this team, they'll let a team drive the field, but they're not going to let them score 27-7. So Brandon Browner, Jermaine Kearse, guys coming up with some big plays.
The philosophy in Seattle, it's all about the ball, according to head coach Pete Carroll. We'll have more on the halftime show coming up, but for now, let's go back up to Kurt and Brock, guys.
Well, guys, it has been about the ball in the first half. Jermaine Kearse caught a ball for a touchdown and then returned one on a kickoff return for 107 yards for a touchdown. And they've also gotten 2 turnovers by this defense, has Seattle. We'll see how it stands up against Denver here in this 2-minute drill. Osweiler gets it off, but he was hit just as he threw the football. Michael Bennett, the free agent pickup from Tampa Bay.
What you like about Michael, his ability to play both outside and inside, swim technique probably held as well. Relentless in his pursuit. This is what defenses feast on. Those defensive linemen love passing situations. They love some of this 2-minute drill. And a third and medium here. Keep an eye once again in that slot, that nickel back position.
Pressure. Hit. Ball comes out. Was his arm moving forward? They're going to say fumble and Seahawks ball. Another turnover created by the Seattle defense. Looks like O'Brien Schofield was the guy to get there. Clearly knocked that ball out before Osweiler had a chance to throw it. And then the hustle by Schofield, he winds up recovering the fumble as well.
They love the acquisition of Schofield. Yeah, that ball is clearly out. Arizona let O'Brien Schofield go. The Cardinals, he was a draft pick there. He had a number of sacks, 4 sacks last year for the Cardinals. We talked about the pad level of Mayowa, getting those pads down. That's exactly how you do it.
Alicia O'Brien Schofield.
And Dan Quinn has got to be excited about what his defense is doing just fundamentally in so many ways, taking the ball away.
Wilson comes back. 1:46 left here in the first half. Spencer Ware forced out of bounds. But with a short field, Wilson going to try and take advantage and run the 2-minute offense. We were talking about Schofield's name's Alicia O'Brien Schofield. Said his father was in the Navy, called his mother and said he wanted him named Alicia Brian Schofield, and his mother misheard him. Thought he said O'Brien. Russell Wilson gets around the corner. That's where he's dangerous. Still keeps his eye downfield, but overthrew Luke Wilson.
So dangerous. Watch once again how he squares himself up. He's probably going to look back on tape and see so much of the green grass here in front of him, but looking to make a play. Actually, 59 was bearing down on him. Unfortunately, we've seen a few of these now. Defense, takeaways, special teams, fantastic. This offense has got to find a way here now on third down to move the chains.
Broncos moved early. Free play, if you will. Wilson going up top. That's going to be picked off, but it'll come back. Tony Carter with the interception, but at least it looked like Denver was the first to move, and they let the play continue, so that should be the call.
Offside. Defense, number 97. Penalty. Replay, third down.
That's on Malik Jackson.
Yeah, Max Unger, that's easy for him. That plays right in front, and that's Stephen Williams outside. So Wilson knows he's not going to make that throw and take that kind of risk unless he knows it's a freebie. Give your big receiver an opportunity.
Exactly. Why not try it? You know that nothing bad can happen. Give Seattle a more manageable third down. Wilson going up top again, overthrew Arcito Clark, but there's a flag in the secondary. You can see Clark saying he was held.
And you see Denver saying, oh no, that was a pick play. And I think with the referee looking to the sidelines, that's going to be called offensive pass interference.
Yeah, on the Broncos sideline is where he's looking.
Pass interference. Offense, number 81. 10-yard penalty. Replay, third down.
Seahawks like to get into this. And you'll see they'll do it with tight ends and running backs. Let's see if Golden Tate gets his eyes back. Usually when the receiver is square, you got to be squared up. When you're pointed, when you're screening the DB, they're going to give that to you. But if you can come in and somehow have your shoulders square and parallel to the line of scrimmage, you can get away with it. That time, pretty clear evidence there. Golden freeing up Arcito. And unfortunately, another big penalty here in the 3rd and long.
Wilson with time. Finds Clark this time, breaks a tackle. That's Spencer Ware. And Spencer Ware out of the backfield. We talked about him getting as many opportunities, and last week ran one in for a touchdown, played well in special teams, now with the grab and taking it down inside the 20-yard line for a 26-yard pickup.
2 timeouts left, no need to panic here.
Wilson flushed out. Flags fly. And Wilson goes out of bounds at the 6.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 25. Half the distance added to the end of the play. First down.
Chris Harris called for the illegal contact. This is the play before.
And you love the third down. 3rd and 10 plus here. These are going to be so critical for the Seahawks this season. And that's an excellent job by Ware, once again creating separation. Does he hesitate? Does he wait? No, he does not. And this time he does, like Marshawn, beast mode, breaks through that arm tackle and gets you 10 extra.
6th round pick out of LSU. After the penalty, ball's on the 3-yard line, 1st and goal. Spencer Ware again. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
2 timeouts here, and you're going to see Pete burn one of them.
37 seconds to go. Here in this first half, and the Seahawks have had plenty of opportunities tonight. And they've taken advantage of most of them, but the offense has stalled a little bit these last 2 possessions.
Yeah.
Would like to go to the locker room feeling good about itself.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing is going to be that 4th and 1. And this is exactly what you want coming in and out of these preseason games. You want all those opportunities to compete. I mean, Pete was excited. We saw him down on the field before the game. He knew what Demaryius Thomas and Welker and Peyton, that's a team that reeled off 11 in a row to end last season. He knew the challenges defense was going to have, but ultimately their fundamentals, their techniques of taking the ball away have made this a 27-7 score, but he would love to. These are statements. That 4th and 1 is the statement of who they are and the physicality up front. And you're going to get a couple more cracks at it here. And another short yardage goal line situation.
Spencer Ware deep in the eye. Derek Coleman in front of him at fullback.
Fullback in the flat.
Off the play fake. Wilson to the end zone. Bobbled and caught. Touchdown Seahawks. Sean McGrath, beard and all, gets the score, but there's a flag back behind the line of scrimmage.
Did that stick to his beard? I could not tell from up here.
He's like a hockey player. He got that playoff beard going. Well, let's see what this penalty's all about.
He's on the play of the touchdown. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, 68. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Breno Giacomini called after the touchdown for a personal foul. So the touchdown does stand, and McGrath gets the score.
It's on the 1st down run. This is the look right off of it. And it's a good thing Russell got a little extra zip as that Denver defender was trying to undercut. McGrath keeps his concentration. That's got to feel good for the more blocking of the 2 tight ends.
Whoa, Hauska. I guess that's why they still kick the extra points, huh? We assumed it would be automatic. It wasn't. Nonetheless, the Seahawks turn another turnover into points. This time, Sean McGrath getting the touchdown. It's 33-7, 32 seconds to go in this first half.
Now, one of the things you're going to see, McGrath had an earlier reception in the first quarter as well. He is not your blazer. He's not your guy that's going to get you a ton of separation. But he's a guy built more along the lines of Zach Miller that's going to block. And then if he can get himself just simply in the right position to finish, well, Russell has just enough velocity. That is a dangerous play right there. As you see the underneath coverage, and that's Iheanacho for Denver. Kid that they are really excited about. But the velocity wins, McGrath's concentration to get it done. And how about 33 first half points for the Seahawks in a variety of ways?
You see McGrath's got more hair on his chin than he does on his head.
He's going to be big here. With the injury to Anthony McCoy, tearing his Achilles on the IR. Zach Miller, as I said earlier, is back from the PUP list, got activated on Friday. You got a rookie in Luke Wilson that's learning on the fly. There could be a role for a 3rd tight end for McGrath on this team.
Guy who was on and off the practice squad last year, trying to show what he has learned in the 12 months between camps. Short kick. Trindon Holiday. Holiday stopped right at the 30-yard line. Brett Swain grabs him by the ankles and takes him down.
Does everybody like to hit on this team? I mean, do you get
Apparently
that sense?
you better.
My goodness. So just a beautiful block by Luke Wilson early in the first quarter. Your rookie tight end cutting people down. We've seen Walter Thurman hit, Swain hit. Heath Farwell, your special teams kind of captain in there, linebacker. He has the collision on the goal line, forcing the fumble. I guess that speaks to the physicality. And we know Alan Bradford likes to hit.
Denver just going to take a knee and end this first half. A first half that has been very impressive for the Seahawks. Defense has scored. Special teams has scored. The offense has scored multiple times. 33-7. And this matchup of two teams that once the regular season starts, people expect to go a long way. And both these squads talked about how much they were anticipating this head-to-head matchup. Well, the Seahawks will go into the locker room feeling a lot better about the first two quarters than Denver will. Rough night for Peyton Manning and the Broncos. He is done. The Seahawks are 33-7. They lead it at halftime. The halftime show comes your way from CenturyLink, right on the other side of this break.
Back here at CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington, the Seahawks halftime show brought to you by Ram Trucks. The Seahawks on top of the Denver Broncos, 33-7. We'll take a look at the first half stats, Dave, and what stands out, the turnovers, clearly.
That's huge. They were plus 13 last year, and if you look at the teams that go to the playoffs every year in the NFL, they're always positive turnover ratio. Seahawks have not committed a turnover this preseason. So that is so key, and we talked about in the pregame show, what do you want to see out of this offense? You want to see him take care of the football. And on defense, you want to see him take it away. That's exactly what they've got.
Russell Wilson showed what he could do in the first half. Second half belongs to Tavares Jackson and Brady Quinn.
Well, and yeah, Tavares Jackson's going to be exciting to watch because I think he's a different quarterback than the last time he was here, and I think he's more comfortable in this role, and he's just gotten better. So it'll be interesting to see how he fills in, and then still got a lot of questions to answer as far as the young guys. I'm looking for John Lodolele. I always bring it back to the linebackers there. I got to watch those guys. Alan Bradford. Check those guys out, but there's still a lot of battles to be resolved.
It looks like it's going to be Tavares Jackson first here in the third quarter. For now, let's send it back up to the booth. And Kurt and Brock, guys.
All right, guys. Well, if Dave wants to turn to the linebackers, I'll let you, Brock, turn to the quarterbacks. What do we expect to see out of the backup quarterbacks for the Seahawks in the second half?
How about a whole bunch of run. And I think that will be a point of emphasis at halftime. So many good things to focus on. Obviously, taking the ball away and the big plays and the passing game and everything else. But kind of like last week, remember we talked in San Diego, establish yourself and who you are with that level of physicality. I'd expect some run, and then you ask T-Jack and Brady Quinn to be efficient when they get their shots.
Well, just about everything going Pete Carroll's way in that first half. Offense, defense, special teams, a very physical first half for the Seahawks.
And pretty scrappy between the two sides. 6 penalties for the Seahawks. That's another point of emphasis, I'm sure. That was a challenge a season ago, especially early in the year, was eliminating some of those personal foul penalties. But Russell Wilson taking care of the ball. Played that whole first half. And I know it felt good to end on the positive note, getting that touchdown, that third down conversion to your guy you're keeping an eye on. Spencer Ware out of the backfield to break the tackle, to keep things alive, and then he is so good in that play-action game.
He's got the ball cap on, done for the night. Tavares Jackson will take over when Seattle gets the ball. Matt Prater going to kick it off for Denver. Jeremy Lane back deep in the end zone for Seattle.
So who do you watch in this second half? Well, Dave Wyman's exactly right. You continue to watch the emergence of those linebackers. You want to watch your young guys on that defensive line, and then a very competitive group of backups on that offensive line that I know Tom Cable wants to see all of them continue to progress and build off what they did a week ago.
Another kickoff for touchback, and here comes Tavares Jackson. And we've talked about it, and it's been written about this week, how good he looked last week. Backups against backups, but he threw a couple of balls. I don't care who you're playing against. They were absolute perfection.
He's playing with tremendous confidence. He's played so much ball. He knows this system inside and out. And some of the challenges, you also got to learn about your receivers. Another highly competitive position group for number 5 and number 6 on this roster. So it can't be all run, because you still got to learn what you can do on the outside with Harper and company too.
They give it to Derek Coleman. Makes a couple of moves, picks up 3, maybe 4 yards on the play. Kayvon Webster on the stop, and you take a look at Tavares Jackson, and people talk about how different he is physically in throwing the football, when I say physically, but also mentally with his approach. Now he's not in a competition for that number 1 spot, is not in jeopardy. He can come in, relax, and just kind of do his thing.
Just play to your strengths. And you can't say it enough, at that position, when you know exactly what you're doing, how it should be done, and there's such a comfort level with he in this system, He can play at the level he did a week ago, and let's see if he can build on that tonight.
Coleman gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a little bit more. And, Jackson was a guy that he's talked about it, how much it meant to him that this team wanted him back. And when we say team, we don't mean just the organization. The players got on the phone when he was released from Buffalo and said, hey, you can go anywhere. We want you back here.
You know why and when that happens? You tear your pec and you don't make excuses and you fight through it, just as he did in his first tenure here.
That 2011 season, fought, went 7-7 as a starter. More touchdowns and interceptions that year. Steps forward, through the hands of Derek Coleman, incomplete. Pass was on the mark, and the rookie just couldn't hold on to it.
I think you sense the level of disappointment here. A Derek Coleman that's also in a real fight with Spencer Ware and trying to make this team. This is going to be a second half of a lot of guys, and we'll hear it over and over again. You got to make this team. You got to make that play. You're exactly right. T-Jack buys time. He steps up around that outside pressure, knows exactly where his outlet is, and that's just simply Coleman trying to run before he finishes the catch.
John Ryan with his first punt of the night. Trindon Holiday, pardon me. And Holiday's wrapped up. Alan Bradford made his plays last week at linebacker, led the team in tackles, now doing it on special teams tonight. Here to start this second half. Backup units in for both squads here as we start the second half. Seahawks in firm control, 33-7. Broncos getting the ball for the first time in the third quarter. Brock Osweiler still in at quarterback. Begins at the 23. Lance Ball wrapped up. Martin Parker right there immediately at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Parker, a young man that just signed last week right before they played the game down in San Diego, one-time New York Giant.
20 carries, 60 yards, just 3 yards a carry in that first half for Denver. They were effective at times in early parts of the downs, but no big run. A long of 8, that defense keeping everything in front of them. You want to, when you got a lead, you want to force them into passing situations.
The pitch to Lance Ball. Met John Lotulelei. That hair goes flying. It's easy to spot him. He makes another tackle for a loss. He did that a couple of times last week.
What you find when these twos come in the game, it's about instincts. And watch first step. I mean, look at him diagnose that play. And obviously a failure in the blocking scheme. No one even gets a helmet on John. But it's that initial first step and that reaction to play, to see the play develop, even before that pitch happens, puts him in the backfield.
Rookie free agent out of UNLV. Big game last week, starting off the second half in similar fashion. Here comes the pressure. Osweiler got rid of it. Lance Ball wrapped up right away. Alan Bradford on a tackle, but really it was the pressure early on by O'Brien Schofield that made that play.
It's going to be tough for Brock Osweiler, Zach Dysert, whoever comes in this game, because your number 2's on that D-line. O'Brien Schofield, once again, what does he do? He gets an edge. He gets his pads down. There's no opportunity for that tackle. All Osweiler can do is find his outlet. And Alan Bradford asked Ken Norton this week, of all your linebackers, and that's a proud group and a talented group, K.J. Wright and Bobby Wagner, who's the guy that can finish the tackle? And he said, there is no question and there is no debate. That's Alan Bradford.
The converted running back, and here's Walter Thurman, short punt. Makes the catch, makes a couple of moves, takes it into Denver territory, but there's a flag way back inside the 15-yard line.
During the kick, holding, number 91 of the receiving team, 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
Well, Chris Clemens is in street clothes and got called for a penalty. That's when you know it's not your night. That's about the only thing not going Seattle's way right now. Big lead, 33-7 here. Well, tonight was expected to be a big challenge for the Seahawks on the preseason schedule, facing the Denver team that people expect to go a long way. Look at how they start the regular season.
Well, what's nice and what you see here in the first 4 weeks is you don't see any group offensively as dynamic as the one you face today, with receivers and tight ends and a quarterback and a passing game at the level that you saw with Denver tonight. A good test for Richard Sherman, and next week and next Friday in Green Bay will be as well. That's what you want out of these preseason. Measure yourself up against the best.
Nice breakup. Pass was intended. Brett Swain, the intended receiver there. Tony Carter swatted it away.
And as quickly as we'd like to see this clock run and this kind of lead, and I know John Schneider, the GM, wants to get out of here healthy, and the head coach as well, you do have to learn about receivers 5 and 6. There are still guys that you've got to evaluate, so it just can't be run, cloud of dust and punt. You've got to give everybody their opportunity. That's just at the center of who Pete Carroll is.
Derek Coleman cuts it back the other way. Can't get around the corner. A host of Broncos there, led by Kayvon Webster.
And this is a much better second crew than we saw a week ago with San Diego that's in the rebuilding process. This is a Denver group that also has a lot of depth, a lot of guys on this number 2 list that have played some ball. Not going to be as easy to push around as San Diego was a week ago.
And this is what you see from the elite teams. It's not so much only the one-on-ones, first teams versus first teams. It's the depth when you get in that second, third level. Jackson on third down. Escapes but tripped, keeps his balance, gets the first down. Good recovery by Tavares Jackson, showing that he's got a little athleticism left in those old bones. 17 yards.
Well, this is a nice thing about T-Jack when it comes to backing up Russell Wilson. He is not the runner that Russell is, but he is also a guy that will be capable of running some of that zone read, that is more than willing when the play breaks down to get the 225 pounds rolling, and is much more adept in that element than the guy he's competing with for that backup spot, that being Brady Quinn.
All the way to the 48-yard line. Pressure coming on first down. Jackson stays in the pocket. Got Helfet, and he made the catch.
Well, T-Jack starting where he left off in San Diego a week ago, buying time when need be, scrambling when need be. And there's a little bit of a flood pattern. You get the underneath flat route to clear out. And then Helfet toe tapping with the perfectly thrown football with both finesse and touch by T-Jack.
19 yards to the 33 of Denver. Jackson scrambling. Brought down after a 5-yard pickup. We saw that catch on the last play by Cooper Helfet. We've seen a touchdown by Sean McGrath. And you talk about guys that are backups getting opportunities. Tight ends taking advantage tonight.
Well, and that's a position group that Darrell Bevel and Pete Carroll and Tom Cable as well, that they like. Just because Zach Miller has been out and because Anthony McCoy is out does not mean you depart from the identity of that group. 2 tight ends will be a part of it. They're going to be enhanced when Zach Miller comes back next week.
Derek Coleman right up the middle. Give him 2 yards on that run.
He fills out that helmet pretty well, doesn't he?
And those shoulder pads and pretty much everything else. Both he and Ware. Those guys are pretty much interchangeable at tailback and fullback, getting opportunities to show what they can do, and we've seen them each play both spots tonight. On third down, Jackson in trouble, hit as he wanted to throw that football. Danny Trevathan, who's had a good game at linebacker for Denver tonight, bringing the pressure.
But smart there in avoiding the sack. And maybe that was a play a few years ago that Tavares would at times hold the ball and maybe not go through his decisions and avoid the negative play. It's a play very familiar to Seahawks fans. You try to set up that fullback in the flat. Denver doesn't buy it. They cover it up, and instead of, well, taking the sack and getting out of field goal range, you throw it away. And you give yourself a shot to get 3 more on the board.
Here's Carson Wiggs, now in at kicker. Going to try this one from 43 yards out. Will it hook? Not this time. Wiggs misses, and so it remains a 33-7 ball game. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery and Department of Imagination. Imagine the possibilities. Pete Carroll working the ear of the officials during that timeout, because that's what coaches do in the preseason. Got to get ready for the regular season chewing outs. Osweiler rolling. Pass caught. That's Virgil Green, their big tight end. Gets out across midfield.
So what do you do if you're Denver and you see these very active linebackers? Well, in the early rundowns, you're going to try to set them up, and you see still the closing speed. Lotulelei jumped that run. I mean, he's almost in the backfield again. He is so very active. He and Bradford continuing to work, and especially for Bradford, to just pull that trigger. His eyes see it. He knows where he's going, but to just fully unload the force of his fury.
Denver did pick up 18 yards. Caught in the backfield. Lance Ball nowhere to run. That wasn't even close. Michael Brooks right there with a stop, the rookie out of East Carolina.
Nice job right in the middle of your screen there, hands. You watch Dan Quinn with these defensive linemen all the time. Dan Quinn's a boxer, and he consistently and continually works the hands with those guys. Even before practice starts, he'll shadow box with them, get their hands up. You get your hands on that offensive lineman first, gives you a chance like Brooks there to shed him and make the play in the backfield.
Osweiler will work from the shotgun. Ball. Again, nowhere to run. Met at the line of scrimmage. Hill in there on the tackle along with Malcolm Smith. And this is really indicative of what Dan Quinn wants to bring to this defense in his second stint with Seattle.
And I think the Seahawks so fortunate with Gus Bradley's departure to bring in a Dan Quinn because of that familiarity. Dan being on this staff, and for these young guys especially, Dan, like so many, is a real teacher. I was telling John Lynch during halftime, you would love as a defensive guy to watch him teach so much of the technique and then to see it pay off here on the field tonight.
Osweiler up top. Pass caught. Winston Guy with a stop after Gerald Robinson made the grab. They're going to be far, far short of the first down. So Walter Thurman will get another shot at the punt return. I tell you, his eyes have to be big the way these returns have gone so far in a week and a half, or a game and a half. Colquitt's punt. High, flags fly. That one will roll into the end zone. Penalty markers on the field. We'll get the call. Eventually.
Third most active winningest coach in the game right there. 100 and some wins for John Fox. This Denver team's going to be good this year. I know this scoreboard says something very different. It feels a whole lot closer than 33-7 with the way they move the ball offensively. But just the big explosive plays, the takeaways by that Seahawk defense. Now +5 in the preseason. Consistent message from that guy, the head coach, resonating. The Seahawks well on their way to another preseason win.
Number 40 of the kicking team was out of bounds on his own. It's a 5-yard penalty, will be added to the dead ball spot. First down, Seattle.
And so the Seahawks will take it over, get a little extra yardage. We'll see what they do with this possession when we come back. Seahawks football is brought to you by Red Robin Restaurants. Remember, a Seahawk Red Zone touchdown means a Tavern Double Tuesday for you. Seahawks have been scoring big plays tonight, mostly 33-7. They have the lead here. 5 minutes, 40 seconds to go in this third quarter.
Now, I was watching during that timeout, this young offensive lineman, a bunch of them talking to one another. I think they really would love to get this run game going.
They hand it off to Spencer Ware. Ware goes nowhere. But we go down to the sideline where we'll welcome in quarterback Brandon Browner. And, you know, Brandon, I don't know if you'd have enough breath left to talk to us after a couple of big plays. Nice first half there. The strip for the fumble and then the fumble recovery for the touchdown. You got to feel good about that first half performance by yourself.
Oh, most definitely. You know, just wish it count, you know, but great prep for the regular season, you know what I'm talking about.
What was the 12th man like tonight?
Oh, it was awesome, man. There's a lot bigger fans and a lot more people than it was in San Diego.
You know what, when you take a look at the opportunities you guys have had this evening on defense, you know, Denver got the yards on you, but you stuck together and made the stop at the right time.
Yeah, bend but don't break, man.
Exactly.
A lot of the times we had some busts out there, you know, those are things we got to clean up, you know, but we did a good job of bending, no break.
Hey, Brandon, talk to me about the emphasis on the fundamentals with your defensive coordinator. We saw so many of you on the fumble that just ripping it in there. What has Dan Quinn meant to you guys defensively and just some of the technique he's teaching y'all?
We emphasize stripping the ball out of there, you know, and that's what we've been doing, attacking the ball all training camp, and we happen to be lucky to get something out tonight.
You know, one of the things that everyone knows with the Seattle defense is how good you guys are as starters in that secondary, but so far this training camp, we've seen guys like Walter Thurman, Byron Maxwell, they keep raising attention. Talk about the depth and the challenge that those guys present to you as starters.
Oh, it's great, man. It's good to have depth like that, you know. In case any one of us go down, you know, we got guys that can step in there, you know, with no problems and handle the business.
How do you build upon tonight? What is a preseason game? Some will say, preseason doesn't mean anything. I get the sense as competitive as your crew is. How do you build upon tonight?
Oh, it was a good team out there. You know, we're out there playing against Peyton Manning and the starters, you know, for almost 2 quarters. So it was a good test for what we can do. You know, last week against San Diego, they were kind of short on receivers, so we got to go against Pro Bowler and Thomas and Peyton Manning. So it was a good test for us tonight.
All right, we'll let you go, Brandon, because your team just scored another touchdown, this time on offense. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, Stephen Williams, talk about going out and getting this one.
You think T-Jack has some trust in this kid? Oh, my goodness. Stephen Williams talks all the time about that red line, never giving up on the play either. Look at this. No contact. I don't think there's any contact as Denver flies right on by. And Stephen Williams, he talked about that red line last week of fighting that real estate, giving T-Jack, giving any quarterback the room for him to go and get that ball and make the play. And what a tremendous throw and catch yet again. You said they liked T-Jack. You said this team likes T-Jack. I think you get that sense, huh?
Well, back-to-back good throws. He had the 29-yard pass to Brett Swain and then followed that up with a 38-yard touchdown pass to Stephen Williams.
You know what I love about this one? 2 of them a week ago were the go routes, and the touchdown was the perfect go route over the outside shoulder. That was through contact.
Well, remember, they review every scoring play. Let's take another look and watch his foot. The one that's up in the air. Was he touched down?
You know, Goose, I think the MiG flew right over him. You know, the MiG-5 Russian jet. I think they flew. I think we turned over and they just flew on by.
Well, they're taking a look at that play to determine whether or not it's a touchdown. The jury's out, but we'll be in when we return. Heck of an effort by Stephen Williams. It'll result in a catch, but should not be a touchdown. Aaron Hester catches him right there on the foot while he's down.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Okay. As we said, it should stand as a touchdown. 38-yard score for Stephen Williams.
I told you the jet flew by. The tail didn't hit him.
He's looking at it going, I may have gotten away with one there. And I think everybody on the Seahawks sideline knows. Heck of an effort nonetheless. It's called a 38-yard score. Carson Wiggs on to add the extra point. And the Seahawks get to the 40-point mark. Stephen Williams showed up so well last week with a couple of big grabs, including a big touchdown. 2 catches, 83 yards last week. You pair it up with this game's numbers, he's got 4 for 128 and 2 touchdowns.
Well, here's what you'd like to see. You know, and this is just some of the challenge. You don't want to take Golden Tate and Doug Baldwin off the field and everything that they've done as a group as well. But he's working his way to getting reps with the ones, just like Benson Mayowa, just like a Michael Bowie, just like we've seen some of those guys get their chances with the ones. I want to see him against the very best. Now, the advantage the organization has that we don't is they get to see it every day against Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner, and he's been doing more and more of that, fighting through contact. And at 6'5", he's just unique. He's just different than the rest. Sidney's a big body guy at 6'3", but he's the split end on the other side that Pete in that system has always coveted.
He's kind of the guy, I mean, he's got more speed than Mike Williams had, but
Yes.
just that big body that Pete Carroll likes on the outside with his receivers.
Well, and just those opportunities. That split end's going to be slant routes, going to be hitch routes, going to be then those go routes. And I loved him a week ago. I know Pete did as well. You know, when you can hit it on that outside shoulder and do it just as it's drawn up, but then other times like that, through the contact with Aaron Hester to fight through it, still make the play, have the awareness to get up and get yourself into the end zone.
Here's Trendon Holiday returning the kick. And Holiday stopped by Perez Ashford.
Good test tonight. Going to be a good test next week as well with the national television audience, the Green Bay Packers, the third preseason game. I'm sure the starter's going to be playing into the second half.
Peyton Manning's an all-time great, but no one may be better right now at quarterback in the National Football League than Aaron Rodgers. So back-to-back challenges for this secondary.
And good to go to their place as well. Just like Peyton was excited to come into this venue tonight. You know Green Bay will be sold out for that third preseason game and take on a very good roster. Two really good tests heading into the season in Carolina Week 1.
Juwan Johnson on the stop of Lance Ball.
Can you believe that? Am I reading this stat sheet right? Cam Chancellor, 11 tackles tonight. As you see Jerron there, 11 tackles for Cam Chancellor in that Legion of Boom. And Jerron Johnson's doing a nice job. He's really gaining the confidence of Dan Quinn and having conversations with him of being both a strong and free safety. Cam Chancellor very physical tonight.
Ball. Cuts it back, flags down on the play. Johnson again with back-to-back tackles.
I think they've called this a number of times. Maybe yet again another point of emphasis. We've already seen a couple of illegal formations here with the tackle too far back. It was a Seahawk in the neutral zone, but some issues here just simply lining up for Denver offensively.
Illegal formation, offense, number 70 was not on the line of scrimmage. It's a 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
And that's the third time we've seen that called on the Broncos tonight. Illegal formation. This time it's Vincent Painter, their 6th-round draft pick out of Virginia Tech, but it's not really the guy. It's not his fault. It's the formation. Don't have that end covered up.
Yeah, and he's got to get himself maybe a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. I think Peyton Manning's still trying to figure out how in the heck they're down 40-7 tonight.
Well, the way they moved the ball, and they had a huge advantage in time of possession, but turnovers and a special teams touchdown will make a difference. Here's Osweiler. With time, Holiday goes up, can't keep his feet, but he gets enough for the first down.
There's a nice little pitch and catch. One of the first times here that Osweiler is able to set up with that big 6'8" frame. And we saw Curse on the touchdown, turn the hips of that corner anytime. And there's some of the speed of Holiday that Maxwell with that cushion and a 33-point lead. Hips get turned as the QB, you know, to throw it to that spot outside. And Denver gets first down for the first time in some time.
Osweiler 6'8", the guy who threw it to Holiday, 5'5". This time, misses it. As we said, he's 5'5". You can't throw it that high to him.
No. A good shot there. Brooks is an intriguing guy. He's yet again another undrafted, and we've seen him both in the run game and that time getting into the backfield as well. You want to get on a practice squad. If you're Michael Brooks and you're undrafted and you're from East Carolina and maybe you're a little bit undersized, at 270 pounds, you show some of that wiggle, some of that ability to penetrate between the guards. There's some room on this roster, especially on the practice squad.
Lance Ball stutter stepping, but wrapped up eventually. Jerron Johnson with a tackle, more flags on the play.
Legal formation again.
Illegal formation. Offense number 70 was out on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, third down.
Fourth time tonight, second time on this drive on Painter.
You got to have a conversation. I mean, it's just too many times. You just cannot be that far back. Look how far his helmet is back from the football. That's going to draw the penalty. They'll let you cheat a little bit. You can't be a yard and a half back.
Yeah, I know. That's clearly on Painter that time for sure. Penalty was declined. So here we go on third down. Osweiler throws it too high, and it falls incomplete. Jeremy Lane there on the coverage. Pass intended for Tavares King. And the Broncos will be forced to punt.
And all he is the fifth corner that started some games for you at nickelback last year, maybe your kick returner. But those tackles have to cheat in this venue. You know, even into the second half and against backups, those guys look for every inch and every advantage. But not going to happen. They're not going to give you that much wiggle room.
Will Blackman back to take the punt for Seattle. From the 17, tripped, flags down, so's Blackman. Well, this is beginning to look a lot like a preseason game.
During the return, illegal block on the back, number 13 of the return team. That penalty is assessed from the spot of the foul. First down.
Phil Bates called for the latest penalty. Seahawks football brought to you by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Less than 1 minute left here in the third quarter. All Seahawks 40-7. They lead Denver, and Brady Quinn now comes in at quarterback for Seattle.
And now this is where the football junkies start to really zero in and watch some, as John Schneider would say, some cool stuff. Brady Quinn's going to have Phil Bates, a receiver turned fullback. He's got Darren Fells, 6'7", tight end, former basketball player. And Chris Harper, the fourth-round pick, has got to take advantage of some of his opportunities.
There's Fells switching sides. And number 13, Bates at fullback. Quinn throws it to Bates out of the backfield. There's a flag down on the play. You don't see wide receivers switch to fullbacks very often, but it just shows you the size and athleticism of Bates.
Yeah, you've got a Michael Robinson here. Remember, he was a former college quarterback, but I think knew immediately when he came into this league he'd have to be a running back, fullback. Marcel Reese.
Illegal formation by the offense. Number 6 initially was lined up in an illegal formation, shifted to a legal formation. That's a 5-yard penalty. Correction, half the distance. Play first down.
Aaron Levine's guy to watch tonight was Bates, because Marcel Reese down in Oakland with Tom Cable was the guy that played at the University of Washington in transition from a receiver to an H-back to a fullback. And you can see with the body type, and actually the Docs having a conversation here with Phil Bates, but you look at that body type at 230 pounds, some room to grow. And if he wants it and has that level of physicality, as well as he catches the ball out of the backfield, there's where the intrigue comes into play.
Here's Spencer Ware after the penalty out of the end zone, lowers his head and fights his way out for a 9-yard pickup.
Well, don't try to get your guy you're watching.
I'm trying to make it exciting. He's my player to watch.
I know what you're doing.
Spencer Ware! This is a good run.
Not a bad job there by your left tackle, Bailey. Keep an eye on him. He had a really good second half a week ago, and yeah, where's a physical guy? They actually graded him out as the most physical, one of the most physical running backs coming out of college last year. And if you're physical and you're a running back, well, Seattle has a home for you.
We'll maybe have a chance to see more of him, and Seahawks fans hope they see more of this. 40-7 as we go into the fourth quarter. Fans, don't forget that the NFL has rolled out a new league-wide bag policy. Fans may carry only clear plastic, vinyl, or PVC bags that do not exceed 12 inches by 6 inches by 12 inches into Central League Field. For more information on exactly what's allowed and what's not, Visit NFL.com/all-clear. And those are the bags that you can bring in. They want to be able to see through to make sure that nothing dangerous is in there. And they have a couple that they will give out at the entrances, but it's better if you bring your own. Here's Quinn on the first play of the fourth quarter. Coleman breaks the tackle, gets out near the 30-yard line. Pickup of 17, but there's a flag down.
Number 63. 10-yard, half the distance to the goal, replays down.
Now that's called on Reshaw Johnson, and that doesn't look good for Brady Quinn. Maybe he hit a helmet.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happens. A nice job there by Brady. He did this a week ago as well, just buying a little bit of time, not forcing it down the field. And with these running backs and their level of physicality, we've seen this. Maybe one of the bigger third down conversions earlier in the game with Spencer, where just get in their hands in those flats and they'll break tackles. But unfortunately, all for naught is once again a lot of penalties. We got napkins flying around in the booth up here, impersonating many of these penalties that have gone down here in the second half. Getting a little bit sloppy with more and more of the backups in.
Yeah, it really is looking like the second week of the preseason. Spencer Ware. Whoa, what a move. Not exaggerating, for a guy that size to make that move and pick up a first down, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's got a little wiggle to him. You'd love to see, now watch outside your receiver. He's got that shimmy and shake. You'd love to see Stephen Williams attack a little bit more there. Is go up and get that safety. Spencer's going to beat that initial tackle. And I like the technique. Your receiver, instead of blocking the corner, let him shake the corner. They'll run through or avoid those guys. Got to get a little more physicality on the safety to maybe even spring that run that much more.
Ware again. Nowhere. Picks up a yard on the play. Guy that impressed last week with his play at tailback and on special teams tonight, showing we could do it fullback, and now as a solo back, gonna get a break.
It's an old adage in the league. The more you can do, the longer you can stick around. And for him, within this scheme and offense, it still utilizes a fullback. Some teams don't. This one does. The short yardage back and the different opportunities on special teams as well. You have that versatility and you embrace it, you can find a role.
Quinn zips that one. Ashford and Perez Ashford going to get it out to the 25-yard line.
I think what's important here for Brady as well is he knows the challenge with Tavares Jackson. He's not naive. He's been around this league long enough. He also knows that there's other backup jobs and opportunities, that it's not always just about your room and your team, that you want to make sure you're putting out the very best film you can, because T-Jack was red hot a week ago, very good tonight, moved the chains on a scramble, had a drop on third down, or those would be even better. But playing very efficient, very sharp, and for Brady Quinn, it's not just about competing for this number 2 spot. It's competing for spots around the league as well.
Here's Quinn. Gets that one out incomplete. Arcito Clark, the nearest receiver. Punting situation for the Seahawks.
He's had a good camp. I've watched a lot of camp, and I think Brady is really, I know it, he told us as much last week. He's really just enjoyed the culture and the competition, and he said it point blank, he's not been anywhere. 3 other organizations he was with that had coaches that taught the game of football. Answer that question of why. Why are we doing this? Really teaching the game better than what he's experienced here.
Here's Trindon Holiday. Big return. John Ryan to beat, gets back inside, and Holiday cut from behind. Perez Ashford chased him down. Holiday, as exciting a return man as there is in the league, there is a flag down.
Of course there is.
It wouldn't be a play without a flag.
Delay of game, number 11 for spiking the ball at the end of the play. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed from the end of the run. First down, Denver.
Well, that's one of those points of emphasis. Delay of game for spiking after the big return by Holiday.
Well, you saw the starters do such a good job of not doing that earlier. You just can't miss that first tackle, and that's Stephen Williams doing the best he can. A lot of the conversation's been, well, you're not a special teamer, not a special teamer. He's trying to do what he can, but you make that first guy miss, and you get that little guy in the open field, it's dangerous.
73 yards on the punt return. He'll lose 5 of it because of the spike.
And that will be a point of emphasis this year, right?
It's supposed to be if you aim it at the opponent. That just looked like exuberance, but it was called a penalty. Backs them up. Osweiler down. Right into the arms of Ty Powell. Well, this defense continues to play well for the Seahawks as we are joined now on the sideline by Richard Sherman. And Richard, it doesn't matter whether it's starters or backups in there tonight. It seems as though if you get outside the penalties, which both teams have had, this defense has looked really impressive for you.
Well, you know, we have a great depth. We have great depth at every position on defense, and I think it's evident on games like this. You know, when we're playing a great team in Denver, in the Denver Broncos, and they have such an effective offense, and the hurry up and everything they do, it really stresses your depth. And I think all the players stepped up for us from the 1s to 3s.
Was it fun to match wits with Demaryius Thomas and Decker and some of the best, most physical receivers in this league?
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun to get out here and compete another time, you know, get out here and execute our defense effectively like we want to. Today, you know, was no different than any other day. We want to stay on top and limit the big plays, and I think we did that.
You know, we talked about bunch a week ago. San Diego got into that bunch. Denver got into that bunch formation, and just passing that off and having that conversation. Can you talk us through some of the challenges with that play in particular?
Well, you know, we just need to talk about that one. You know, we got in a formation we hadn't seen in a while, and we played it a way we hadn't played in a while, and you know, the communication was just a tad bit off. And, you know, we can clean that up, though. Stuff like that happens in the preseason. That's why you have plays like this in the preseason.
How fun was the 12th man tonight?
Man, come on. You know they're always awesome, man. They're still going. It's 40-7 in the fourth quarter, and they're still going, man. We have the best fans ever. And this is the preseason, man. As you can see, they're always great, and it's spectacular to be a part of it.
It's the preseason, but we were talking to players and coaches on the field before, and it seems as though you guys were really excited about the matchup. Both Denver was and you were, even though it is preseason.
Yeah, because we like a challenge, you know, and I think that's a great thing about our team is everybody steps up to the challenge regardless of what team it is. And, you know, Pete does a great job of getting us ready, and all the coaches, Christian Shaw did a great job of preparing us, and guys are still making plays. Come on. Oh, good play.
You want to come up in the booth?
I'd love to go up there.
That's Will Blackman, another DB making a big play. We appreciate you taking the time, Richard. We'll hear you from down there. Trust us.
Thank you very much.
You're never quiet. We know we'll be able to hear you. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
All right. Will Blackman, the veteran, trying to make this team as a backup defender in that secondary.
You see the difference there? Remember Golden Tate on his go-around? He never showed Champ Bailey when he was going to get it. And there the receiver, once he turns and he sticks his hands up, Will Blackman, the veteran, as you said, he's going to fight and rip right through the reception point, forcing incompletion.
Matt Prater on to try a 33-yarder. Gets it. Hey, no flags. No flags on the field goal, so the points will count. 40-10 here in the fourth quarter. $40-10 the count. 10.5 to go here in this second game of the preseason. Seahawks, of course, coming off that 31-10 win last week on the road in San Diego, and just trying to keep this train going. They were 4-0 in the preseason last year, 8-0 here at CenturyLink. Both seem to be repeating itself right here as we start the second preseason game as we start this year.
Big return here. I don't know if he'll get a shot, Jeremy Lane, with Denver, especially if Prater is kicking. He led all kickers in the NFL a season ago with a touchback. But Jeremy Lane is very much fighting for a job there in the kickoff return game. Yeah, the thin air helps Prater. He's also got an enormous leg. How about 15 of 20 on field goals of 50-plus for Prater? Don't be surprised if Lane can catch us in bounds. He may want to take a shot.
He's got it. He's coming out. Past the first level, but not much more. Knocked down the 24-yard line. More flags.
No.
I know it's hard to believe.
Do they keep records, preseason records for penalties? Got tackles that can't line up.
And the return, holding, receiving team number 52, half the distance from the spot of the foul. First down, Seattle. Timeout.
That's called on Alan Bradford. When we come back, Well, we'll try to get some football in between the Hankies. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery and Department of Imagination. Imagine the possibilities. By the way this is going, we want to imagine a whole series without a flag. That's our goal.
How about a 7-8 minute drive here? A few first downs.
Backed up inside the 10-yard line. Brady Quinn. Flushed out of the pocket, gets it out to Ware. Spencer Ware going to lose a yard on the play. You talked about Brady Quinn and the opportunities, whether it's here or somewhere else. This is fourth team in the NFL, third in the last 3 years. But one of the luxuries that the Seahawks actually have is there's not a lot of money invested in Russell Wilson because he's a rookie and he can't renegotiate his contract. So it's not like some teams where they're paying their starters so much they can't afford to keep 3.
Correct, and thus you can sign Michael Bennett and you can sign Percy Harvin to a really big deal and take advantage of that. And you're going to have to, between Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas and crew, you're going to have to spend some money this offseason as well.
Spencer Ware gets around the corner, out near that first down marker. Well, you can see, let's count by 10 tonight. 10 points. Are you the count?
20 combined penalties, 30-point lead.
40 points for the Seahawks.
Wow.
50 total points in the game.
And now a little less than 10 minutes, and there'd be nothing better than a sustained 10-minute drive to finish this thing out.
That graphic brought to you by the letter O-C. Ware caught in the backfield.
That's a couple 3rd and 1s. That's some short yardage situations. A 4th and 1 earlier as well, where you're just not winning at the line of scrimmage. And anytime you stop your feet in the backfield, and that's not Spencer's fault, he's having to hesitate back there. Well, you don't have a chance, and you can see the frustration. All you got to do, almost a stalemate, and allow him to plow through. But early penetration in some of those short yardage situations, well, it's forced a couple of these tonight and a couple punts.
John Ryan. High kick. Omar Bolden calls for the fair catch. He's run into on the play. Flags will definitely come flying, no question about that. Jamison Kahns got down there just a bit too early. Couldn't stop his momentum. You got to give that return guy an opportunity to make the catch. And Kahns did not do that on that play. We may have to call our referee Ron Torbert, our third guy in the booth tonight. He's been on TV more than anybody. Guy who's auditioning for a referee's job. Not necessarily this season, but he's going into the program, and they are experimenting this first and second week of the preseason with guys at that referee's position so that they can, like coaches want to do, get these guys on film so they can determine their futures in the league.
So that's why you see the SJ, the side judge uniform there.
It's probably why you also have so many discussions. Because in addition to having a referee, quote-unquote, audition, they're bringing in at different positions people from other leagues and from colleges just to try to give them an opportunity. They try to only do one per crew, but you got a lot of crews that aren't used to working together.
Yeah, we saw some replacement officials here last year. I don't know if you remember that Green Bay game.
No, I don't. What happened in that one, huh?
Well, in that corner end zone, the replacement officials played a significant role.
Here's Pete Morelli, one of the supervisors. Carl Johnson is working down there. He was the supervisor of officials prior to this year. He's back on the field now. See him there in the black hat with the NFL logo on it, pointing right now.
Didn't seem like a terribly complicated call.
Of course, we didn't think the Stephen Williams touchdown and no touchdown was complicated either. And That one didn't work out the way the video looked. Now Carl Johnson is talking to John Fox.
You want to kick it again? No, I don't want to kick it again.
I just want to go. And you understand why a guy like Torbert is being nitpicky, because he's being evaluated on this. And they'll downgrade him if he doesn't make the right call.
During the kick, it was a hold by the receiving team, number 86. It was also kick-catch interference by the kicking team, number 85. Denver has chosen to offset the penalties and re-kick 4th down.
Yeah, it was 87 clearly, Jamison Cons. There's nobody else there but him. Again?
It is amazing, though. We hear pace and tempo and time, and we saw that with the replacement officials a year ago. Just trying to, part of your job is to keep the pace and the flow of these games going. I think you see the little chuckle there, right? It's great to have the conversation, but you also got to keep this game moving.
Another do-over. Here's John Ryan back to punt again. Omar Bolden standing back, and this is a better punt for Ryan from the 35. Arcito Clark, second effort, gets him this time. Winston Guy also there on the tackle, but Clark, it took him twice. He wrapped him up. 48 yards on the punt, not much on the return, as the Broncos will take it over. 8.5 minutes left in the ball game. Seahawks in control, 40-10 over the Broncos. 8 minutes, 12 seconds left. We are joined now on the sideline by Seahawk wide receiver / punt returner, Mr. Everything tonight, Golden Tate. Thanks for joining us, Golden.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, evaluate your performance, because not only did you have the catches, but you also had the big return. You've got to feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm pleased with my performance. There's obviously some things I need to get better at that I'm going to go in and be critical on myself in the film. But, I'm going to come back ready to work, and, we're just out here having fun.
What is it that you feel that you need to work on based on your performance tonight?
Always my releases. I don't think you can ever be too good at route running. Those are kind of my two focuses. But just being a complete player is what I'm working on this year, and being consistent.
I'll tell you what I like, Golden. I like that go route on Champ Bailey and how you didn't give him any indicator whatsoever when that ball came down. Walk me through that go route.
Oh, well, it started with my release. My release was key. I opened it up so I can hold the red line. We also put it up so I can catch it. The offensive line did a phenomenal job of protecting him, and I just made a play. It was kind of cool to make a play on someone you watched growing up. Such a great player and person. He's achieved a lot in this league, and it felt good to make that play.
Tell me what happens if you're a guy like you. You put your work in. You got the cap on the rest of the night. Are you watching? Are you talking? And are you eating? What are you doing over there?
Me personally, I try to stay in the game, coach the younger guys. But I tell you what, I cannot wait to start playing 4 quarters. I like playing. I don't like being on the sideline watching. But I'm having a good time watching our young guys grow. You can see them growing within the game. It appears to be easier than it is in practice for them. So we're just rooting everybody on and having a good time out here.
Tell me about Steven Williams.
Oh man, back-to-back weeks, definitely a deep threat. He's got incredible athleticism. He can leap and jump, and he just finds ways. I'm glad that we have him on our team, and I expect him to shine this year and be a great complement to this offense.
How much do you all enjoy playing ball together?
Oh, we love it. We love it. Every day we go into work. I think this is, out of my 4 years being here, or going into my 4th year, this is the closest that our team has been. From top to bottom, from the trainers all the way down to the equipment guys and the chefs. We are all a close-knit team, and I think it's helping us this year.
It certainly shows in the way you performed here in a week and a half so far. Week and 3 quarters. We appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Golden Tate. Another good night for him. Another good night for the Seahawk team all around, outside of the penalties, which we've had a lot called on both squads, but really Seattle looking good and continues to here on defense. Right around the corner, Kyle Knox. I mean, what hasn't been done by the Seattle team tonight?
Why not? Why not just continue to run through your depth and have perfect technique? I can't say it enough. And unfortunately for Vincent Painter, a rough night with false start penalties. But it's about pad level. And when you get your second and your third stringers and you get to the tail end of your depth and you still see them fundamentally doing the right things, that's all the evidence you need for the kind of teachers that you have implementing the plan.
Osweiler on 3rd and long. Here's the pressure again. Flushed out of the pocket. Lumbering. And the big fella gets the first down. All 6'8" of him sliding across the 40-yard line.
And he's a good athlete. Remember, he was a Gonzaga basketball recruit out of Kalispell, Montana. Very heralded coming out of high school. Ended up going to ASU and having a really good junior year. Left a year early. This isn't a 6'8" terrible athlete. Basketball player, decent athlete. He's not going to make a living doing that. He's probably got to work on the slide a little bit. Finding a little bit more success and continuity here in the second half.
Picks up 14 yards on the run. Throws that one on the run. O'Connell, Jake O'Connell with the reception.
I think you see a situation in Denver that you cannot afford if you're the Broncos and all the Super Bowl aspirations. You cannot afford to lose number 18. This offense with Thomas and Decker and the entire crew and the way they're going to operate and the productivity they'll have and throw Welker in. And that's no offense and slight to Osweiler, but that's just the difference. You saw it in Indianapolis as well. Osweiler doesn't have the seasoning that a Tavares Jackson has, does not have all that experience. And it will be critical for 18 to be in there week in and week out.
Jake O'Connell makes the catch, hit immediately by Winston Guy, and there's Manning, and part of the reason that he chose the Broncos, I mean, they're a team that's built to win now. And we saw that last year. You mentioned earlier, they rattled off those 11 straight wins to finish the season and had the lead in the playoff game at home before that stunning play everyone's talked about. Raheem Moore just kind of had a mental lapse,
Sure
gave up
did.
the touchdown, and they wound up losing to the eventual Super Bowl champs, Baltimore.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately shell-shocked there and couldn't find a way to win. But Peyton's arm looked a whole lot better tonight than it did at this time 1 year ago.
Osweiler towards the back of the end zone, picked off. Deshaun Shedd with the interception. Another turnover for Seattle. 4th takeaway of the night for the Seahawks.
And that's a throw you just can't make late into coverage like that, but good for Shedd. He's a guy fighting really for an opportunity and a role here. The former corner turned safety. Shows you that, yeah, I could do like the rest of the Legion of Boom, and you give me an opportunity, well, I'll find a way to finish it like so many have tonight.
Deshaun Shedd, just the latest Seahawk to wrestle away a turnover. 4 takeaways tonight, 2 last week by the Seahawk defense, and the offense has committed none. After the interception, Brady Quinn hands it off. Coleman gets out to the 20-yard line. Someone's helmet came off, one of the Broncos.
And I think a pretty healthy night. Unfortunately, we saw earlier the injury to the defensive end, Derek Wolfe, and John Lynch also at halftime. Reconfirm what we said earlier, that all signs are very positive. He has full movement back. A cervical bruise, but he should be okay. But Seahawks have come out tonight and been, I think, quite healthy. Typically what happens when you're the more physical crew.
Which they certainly have been tonight. Really a continuation of the way they played in San Diego last week. Quinn zips that one, Chris Harper. And the 4th round pick out of Kansas State with the catch.
Give me some tough decisions to make in the back end of the secondary. When you're talking secondary spot, corner spot, 5, 6. I think even more so at receiver. What are you going to do? Jermaine Kearse has played himself onto the team. He's going to be the 4th wideout. I don't think there's any doubt about that. With Sidney Rice and Golden Tate and Doug Baldwin, what's going to be 5 and 6? How is that going to work itself out? That big body receiver, Stephen Williams, makes yet another play tonight. You've got Harper that was a 4th round pick. You've got Phil Bates that you find some intrigue with at receiver and running back. run the risk of letting one of those guys go. Do they get picked up elsewhere? There are going to be some hard conversations here in just a couple weeks.
And some hard running being done by Spencer Ware. A couple of jukes, makes a pair of guys miss, and then he lowers his shoulder, gets out to the 50-yard line.
Yeah, I think this kid is a 6th-round pick, is found a home, and he's fighting with Derek Coleman, who we've seen tonight also do some good things.
20 yards on that run.
And his running back coach, Sherman Smith, said he's got some wiggle. That move on that safety, they've seen it in training camp. He's not just that fullback that they drafted him to be and to compete with Michael Robinson. He's got a guy that can break some tackles and beat you one-on-one.
2-minute warning here at CenturyLink. Seahawks just trying to run out the clock.
Seahawks football is brought to you by CenturyLink. Internet, phone, TV, and more. Visit CenturyLink.com for details. Pemco Insurance, we're a lot like you, a little different. Washington's Lottery in the Department of Imagination, imagine the possibilities. And Ram Trucks, guts, glory, Ram. Back here at CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington, the Seahawks leading the Denver Broncos 40-10. Aaron Levine alongside Dave Wyman. And Dave, there's been no let-up by the Seahawks' second and third string defense in the second half.
Yeah, only 70 or 80 yards out of the Denver Broncos in the second half. So it's nice to see that they can. This has been a long game, man. I mean, this is like a round of golf right now. And so for these guys to be able to concentrate and stay intense has really been key.
It certainly has an all-around good effort by the Seahawks tonight. Let's go back up to Kurt and Brock, guys.
Were this a round of golf, we'd be ready to play a second 18 right now. Seahawks going to take a knee, run out the clock here. Another good performance. 31-10 win last week at San Diego. They come back in the home opener here in the preseason, facing a tough Denver Broncos squad. And once again, you don't want to put too much into preseason stats, but a 40-10 performance against a team that is this good is impressive.
Well, what really does stand out to me, I think more than anything, it's the fundamentals. It's the details. It's the coaching. It's ripping and tearing and clawing. Takeaways don't just happen, not against good teams. You've got to do the extra. You got to do and be on point with the details. Brandon Browner, a tremendous job of that. Really, the group in its entirety. You know, you sit there at +4, you're going to win every week in this league doing that. Russell Wilson in that first drive, that opening drive, and setting the tone in the mix of the run and the pass, his creativity, 2 touchdown passes for him. You know, some of the short yardage play, just like any of these games, there's going to be some elements. Richard Sherman talking about some of these formations and packages and communicating in that passing game. There still will be some details to work on, but so much to like, and more than anything, too, I think this sets up perfectly to go on the road, play in a really hostile environment against, you know, one of the best quarterbacks right there with Peyton Manning, maybe even better right now in Aaron Rodgers, in the ultimate dress rehearsal, which will come down next Friday night.
That third preseason game on the road at Lambeau Field. Seahawks will go into that one 2-0 on the preseason, and feeling awfully good about the way things are going. As you mentioned earlier, pretty much everybody appears to be healthy going out of this one, and the Seahawks have another victory. 40-10, the final, in a game that everyone was anticipating. Right now, we send it down to the field. Alan Bradford joining us down there, the former running back who continues to make his mark as a linebacker. Thanks for taking the time, Alan.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, well, tonight had to be fun for you. I know you didn't get to play as much as you did last week, but you had 2 tackles, both for losses in the backfield.
Yeah. I think the game slowed down a lot from last week, and it was just, you know, a lot of preparation going into it, and I felt it, believed with my eyes, and just went and didn't hesitate.
You like to hit?
Yes, sir.
How much Coach talks about taking the ball, everything's about the ball. How much of that's fluke? How much of it is you guys staying on the details and creating those takeaways?
Oh, no, that's serious. We got a takeaway day during the week, and that's all we emphasize that during the weekend. When we in the game and we see that they got a weakness, that we're going to exploit it and we're going to go after the ball.
I know usually guys don't talk a lot about preseason matchups, but there is really a feeling in the air and on the field when you talk to players and coaches about the challenge of facing a team like the Denver Broncos with big expectations and how much it would mean to come out and play well tonight.
I mean, we knew it was a good test to see where we was at so far through the season. And we just went out there and played Seahawks football. And, I mean, the opponent matters, but we just, whenever we strap up and go on that field, we just trying to make sure we go 100 miles per hour and we give it everything we got.
All right, well, you did it tonight. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
That's Alan Bradford, the linebacker for the Seahawks, part of the 40-10 win over the Denver Broncos. Seahawks go to 2-0 on the campaign. We'll be back with the postgame show from CenturyLink right after this.